Soldier Field in Chicago. The weather looked awful all day, but the chance of showers has gone down significantly. Wind blowing left to right at 8 miles an hour, 63 degrees. Pretty good night for the middle of October in the great Midwest, and Lovey and the Bears on top. Coach Smith's team looking to get to 5-1. Minnesota, the surprise team at 5-2. Meantime, Jim Schwartz Lions coming off the win in Philadelphia, rallying from down 10. Chance to get to 500 tonight, get the whole division 500 or better. Stephon Logan back deep as his Lions have won the toss and will receive. And Robbie Gould, one of the best in the NFL, will kick it off. 165th meeting, the Bears and the Lions, and off we go from Chicago. 8 deep, Logan will take a knee, Lions will take it out from their own 20, led by the former #1 overall pick, Matthew Stafford. This offense, John, second in passing yards, second in total yards.
They throw the ball more than any team in the NFL, and with that being said, they're going to have to pass protect a very good defensive line of the Chicago Bears tonight. And Calvin Johnson, the great receiver of the Lions, needs some help. Pettigrew, the tight end, Titus Young, wide receiver, even LaSure, the running back. Somebody needs to take the pressure off of Megatron.
Opening drive from the 20. Stafford first toss. Ford Johnson blanketed by Charles Tillman. The Pro Bowler last year is going to be seeing him all night long.
He told us it's going to be a heavyweight fight. He can't wait to see Calvin Johnson. Just an inside under route. And Tillman understands the Lions route tree probably as good as any Detroit Lion. He has a PhD in Bear defense. 10 years he's done it at a high level.
Following Calvin Johnson all the way around the field, comes over to the opposite side for 2nd and 10. And the lone back gets the carry. Michael LaSure, tripped on his own, they say, so able to get back up. And a gain of 4 as Brian Urlacher stops him there.
They've got to be able to run the ball against this defense. The safeties are so deep. Wow. It's a 6-man box. LaSure has to step up tonight and be able to run the ball against that kind of look. Mike, Barry Sanders would have run for 3,000 yards if he saw safeties that deep in his career.
Bears have their pass rushing unit on, including Shea McClellan, the rookie defensive end. It's 3rd and 6. Stafford stepping up and throwing complete, and Johnson dropped it. So Calvin Johnson has had 2 on his hands. That one he was wide open, and he put it on the ground. 3 and out Detroit.
Well, if you want to win on the road, you got to make plays like that. That time the Bears show blitz, they bail out of there, and there's nobody in the middle of the field but Calvin Johnson with plenty of room to run. Very uncommon drop. And here's Hester.
Nick Harris kicking to Devin Hester. Loves taking him back on Monday night. A lot of hang time, and Hester with a fair catch. And a 36-yard punt. So Chicago will take over at its own 40-yard line. Special teams, always great for the Bears, have been terrible for the Lions thus far this year. So great field position for Jay Cutler. As we showed you a moment ago, so good in his career against Detroit with first-year offensive coordinator Mike Tice. Getting more on the same page right now.
I think they're going to be balanced. They can run the ball with Matt Forte and Michael Bush. They can throw it with Brandon Marshall. 55. Obviously, pass protection going to be big against the Detroit Lions, who can also rush the passer.
Saw Hester in the starting lineup. Alshon Jeffrey, their 2nd-round rookie out of South Carolina, out with a broken right hand. And Matt Forte, the first carry. And they gain it to Amari Steve. Steps into the hole to make the tackle. So you might remember game 2 of the year up in Green Bay. Forte had the high right ankle sprain. Thought he'd be gone for a while, but missed the game against the Rams. Able to come back and had over 100 yards 15 days ago against Jacksonville. Bears with their off week last week. Another run Forte, and waiting for him was Cliff Averill. So this Lions defense that's been pretty good against the run so far this year, John, stops Forte on the first 2.
That's just bad backside blocking. Right now the Bears are in a muddle huddle, and they're giving Jay Cutler an opportunity to call some plays at the line of scrimmage. Now Cutler's gone back into the huddle. But on these zone blocking plays, the tight end, Kellen Davis, has to do a better job blocking on the backside than he just did.
Lions go with a fifth defensive back in the nickel. That's Alphonso Smith, who they signed earlier this week because of injuries. Cutler, over the open first look, going to take off, and will get the first down across midfield and into Lion territory at the 46.
That's where Jay Cutler can really kill you. Very underestimated is his athletic ability. You're going to see a stunt, and watch Cliff Averill come across the formation and peel out of there to cover Forte. It's only a three-man rush. Jay Cutler says, I'll do it myself. Very strange to see the Lions not get after Cutler on the first 3rd and long tonight.
Fourth time this year that Cutler has run for a first down. He gained 11 there. Now a play action, maybe a shot. Cutler, tough footing, able to stabilize himself and trying to get back near the line of scrimmage. Cliff Averill pulls him down. Bears fans want a flag for a late hit, but none is coming. Pass rush pressure by Averill. John told you before, this defensive line's got to pick it up and step up for Detroit the way they did in overtime and the late in the game against Philly.
Take a look at Averill. He's unblocked. It's a play action protection. He has Cutler one-on-one. He misses the tackle. That's what Jay Cutler can do. He can keep plays alive, and there's Vanden Bosch capping off.
Good. Hey.
2nd and 10. Lions bring the linebacker on a blitz, and Forte into the clear. At Forte. Tackled by Amari Spivey at the 8. A gain of 39.
That's one thing Detroit doesn't do well, and Gunther Cunningham admitted it to us last night. They don't blitz well. They blitz the weak side of the formation, and they're going to run the ball to the strong side, and it's a bad run fit on this power play. There's nobody for Lance Lewis to block. And Matt Forte has owned the Detroit Lions in his career. But look at Kellen Davis take advantage of Vanden Bosch at the point of attack. And Matt Forte, what he's done in his career against the Lions is astonishing.
After the run of 39, Michael Bush is the back. 1st and goal, Chicago. Cutler. Marshall, touchdown Bears.
This is Jay Cutler playing quarterback like he played early in his career with the Denver Broncos. They're moving the pocket more now with Mike Tice, quarterback coach Jeremy Bates, than they have in recent years, and that is right up Jay Cutler's alley. You get the running game going, you fake the ball to Bush, you slide Brandon Marshall across the formation, who shows great instincts. Outstanding start for the Chicago Bears coming off their bye week, Mike.
You make a good point, John, because Cutler was so good out of the pockets on those nakeds and those boots in Denver. Haven't seen much of it during his Bears time, but putting it back in the game plan. Looked great there. Robbie Gould adds the extra point. 6 plays and 59 yards. And Brandon Marshall with his former Bronco teammate Jay Cutler in the end zone for the Bears opening drive.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by GMC. Enter the Never Say Never sweepstakes for a chance to win a 2013 GMC vehicle at gmc.com/NFL and ESPNshop.com, where you can get all of your official NFL sideline gear.
Some of the unique architecture around downtown Chicago, so the best tours of this city. It's a pretty good tour down the field for Jay Cutler. 6 plays, nearly 60 yards. He ran for a first down. Forte had a 39-yard run. And then a rare out-of-the-pocket touchdown, just the 6th out-of-the-pocket touchdown he's thrown as a Chicago Bear. And that now spans 47 games. Was so much of his game when he and Marshall were in Denver. He hooks up there. He had thrown, John, 26 touchdowns outside the pocket when he was a Bronco in fewer games. So good to see that part of his game hooking up one more time.
And this is an area right now, if you just take a look at this coverage unit of the Bears, they excel here. Blake Costanzo, number 52, the ex-49er. Eric Weems, number 14. They went out and signed 2 great special teams players. Let's see what happens.
2 guys flank Robbie Gould, the kicker. Stephon Logan a chance to return this from 5 yards deep. Logan brought down by Costanzo, the man John circled for you at the 21-yard line. We're talking about Cutler and Marshall back in Denver and reunited. So rare that you see 2 guys who came in the same draft year for one team reunite with another. And this season, 57 targets, hitting 36 of them. That's the 4th time they've hooked up for a touchdown.
I don't understand the NFL. How do you let Brandon Marshall and Jay Cutler out of Denver? Kudos to the Bears. Haven't had a combination like this in a long time.
Use draft picks to acquire them. Detroit has their first-round pick, Riley Reef, 71. He's in there as an extra tight end as the Lions go heavy. And he blocks for Michael LaSure. Big opening up the middle for LaSure to the 35-yard line. Give him 14 and a first down. Chris Conti made the tackle.
Well, it's interesting what they did there. You don't see an offensive tackle come in motion, but they're just going to hand the ball off to LaSure off the left side. Nice cutback run by LaSure and good backside blocking by Riley Reef. LaSure is the back that they have coveted here in Chicago for a while. Haven't had 1,000 yards back since 04, Kevin Smith.
LaSure out as an outlet for Stafford and gets no gain on first as Charles Tillman makes the tackle. Tillman, part of that Rod Marinelli-led Chicago defense, so disruptive. John, they've scored 5 touchdowns on their own this year.
They got a lot of depth on this defensive line. A defensive coordinator, Rod Marinelli, will use 8 different defensive linemen. And they have a lot of system intelligence. Briggs, Urlacher, we already talked about Tillman, have a combined 33 years of experience in Bear defense, and it shows.
Bears go with 5 defensive backs. The former Colt Kelvin Hayden checks in, 2nd and 9.
Easy. Right, yellow.
Play clock at 2. Check to a run to the shore, but the play was killed as the officials stopped the clock for a timeout taken by the Bears.
Prior to the ball being snapped, Chicago calls a timeout. This is their first.
Alberto Riveron, our referee for tonight. Just over 5 minutes into the first. 7-0 Chicago. Smith's defenses have been takeaways, and it continues this year in great numbers. 17 in the first 5 games. That's 1 behind the Patriots and the Giants. They played 7, John.
It's amazing, and they don't just get turnovers. They score touchdowns with them. And it's been a variety of contributors on this Bears defense. But it starts with Charles Tillman and Lance Briggs. Tillman has 2 touchdowns. Briggs has 2 touchdowns. Calvin Johnson has 1 touchdown. What's wrong with this conversation?
Tillman,
very opportunistic.
Tillman and Briggs getting a touchdown in each of the last 2 games. The Monday nighter, we had them at the start of the month in Dallas and 15 days ago in Jacksonville. You see, they've allowed 5 touchdowns and scored 5. Briggs playing as well as he ever has. 10th year out of Arizona. Out of the Bears call timeout, 2nd and 9. Hayden is coming with that pressure. Stafford's pass is deflected by Urlacher. And incomplete. I think you know the Brian Urlacher story. Injured at the end of last year. Slow to get back this year, but makes a good play here.
Well, Kelvin Hayden comes off the weak side in a blitz, and Urlacher is going to come right into Stafford's face and bat the football down, eliminating the hot receiver. That's what they need, Brian Urlacher, to get back in business. He's been coming back from a serious injury. That's good to see if you're a Bear fan.
So his MCL and his PCL, 2 knee ligaments, last week of last year. First down awaits the 46. There's Briggs 5. 3 is Chris Conti. Stafford just gets it away. Gets it complete. Detroit Bell not going to be able to pick up the first down. The running back with the catch at the 40-yard line, punting time.
All those people that think the Bears are playing Tampa too, they got to be kidding themselves. 3 Bears showing blitz. 2 come, 1 drops. Conti's unaccounted for, and Stafford has no chance. And look at the effort. The Bears are doing a lot more on defense, Mike, than they've done in previous years, and they have Detroit scrambling right now.
Last time, Devin Hester took a return back to the end zone, Soldier Field against Detroit last year. Then hang time trying to keep it away and out of Hester's hands. And they do. It's 35 yards of net, as that was the kick by Nick Harris. Bears scored on the opening drive with Cutler and Marshall hooking up. Back on the field when you come back. Too far from here, downtown, you look at the Chicago River, which down by the pier spills into Lake Michigan. 7-0 Bears, their second drive. Chicago looks to get to 5-1. They've won their last 3 by 17, 16, and beat Jacksonville by 38. From the 26, Cutler. Incomplete. That pass intended for Devin Hester. The Detroit defense with some issues. Their second and third top corners out tonight. So it's a different looking unit, including the first NFL start for rookie Jonte Green.
I think the secondary is decimated. You said it. Lacey's out. Bentley's out. Drayton Florence got hurt. I don't know some of these corners. They've got 3 very good veteran linebackers. Tulloch, Levy, and Durant. They're going to lean on tonight. Bears got to get after this inexperienced secondary.
Second and 10, a quick toss. Scooped off the ground by Earl Bennett, but a good tie-up by Chris Houston, the starter, who's done a very good job thus far this year for the Lions after missing the first 2 games with an ankle injury.
And 3rd down and 10, 3rd down in long situations. This is where Detroit needs to rev up their game. They've got a number of high-priced pass rushers. You see Averill, Sue. They need to turn up the heat right now on the Bears, who are in an empty backfield set.
Maurice Pavey, the safety, showing blitz, bringing blitz. Blocked up and gives Cutler a chance to explore Earl Bennett. His 3rd down security blanket in the middle for a first down gain of 15.
I really like what offensive coordinator Mike Tice did there, Mike. Creative chip protection. Watch Davis and watch Forte chip the defensive ends before they release. Then they just throw the ball to Bennett in the middle of the field, who's wide open. Good protection plan. Bad 3rd down defense by the Lions.
180.
On first down for the 41. It is Forte, and hanging on to him is Justin Durant. Only a gain of a few yards.
And I think everybody in Detroit is waiting for 3rd-year man Ndamukong Suh to come back and find his rookie form. Here he is on the backside against an old-fashioned swap combination, we call it. And the Bears show Ndamukong Suh how important it is for them to come off the ball. They need him to play lower. They need more penetration, more production, more disruption from a 3rd-year man out of Nebraska.
Second and 7 for Cutler. Suh getting through that time. Pushed down. Shot downfield for Marshall. Is incomplete. Double covered by Spivey and Jonte Green.
Just keep an eye on the inside defensive tackle. Here he is. And Ndamukong Suh working against Lance Lewis, number 60. So far, Lewis holding his own.
You mentioned Suh, the number 2 pick, 4th in the Heisman voting the year he came out of Nebraska. Had that 10-sack rookie season, and rare for a defensive tackle in the Midwest. National TV commercials, endorsements, but it's been multiple run-ins with the law. Stomping on the player from Green Bay, Evan Dietrich Smith, Thanksgiving, a couple of games suspension. And as you said, the performance has not been a series of splash plays over the last 15, 16 games. Bears have burned 2 timeouts here in the first quarter. 3rd and 7 when you come back. Tough stretch for Detroit. They are away from home a lot here. They're in the midst of 4-5 away from Ford Field in downtown Detroit. Coming to a place where they have lost 6 of their last 7, Soldier Field. The Bears have burned a couple of timeouts in this first quarter. It'll be 3rd and 7 for Chicago.
Earl Bennett back in action. He's Jay Cutler's favorite target on 3rd down. He was the receiver on the last one.
With a 4-man rush, it's Cutler. Pocket collapsing. Forte caught a good tackle by Stephen Tulloch, the leader of a good linebacking corps. And the Lions will force a Chicago punt.
You've got to be able to play some man-to-man coverage and mix your looks. That time, the Lions dial up man-to-man coverage, and Tulloch does a great job covering Forte out of the backfield. Gunther Cunningham has a lot of respect for Stephen Tulloch. He makes a lot of plays in his Lion defense.
Adam Podlish is the punter. Came over from Jacksonville as a free agent last year. Stephon Logan back for the Lions. Hogan tells everybody to stay away and calls for the fair catch at the 19-yard line. Third drive for Stafford in Detroit. Coming up. Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson. That's the combo that has fueled the Detroit renaissance over the last couple of seasons. 10 wins, playoffs last year. Thus far this season, 53 times targeted in 5 games and a quarter, 31 completions. They have not hooked up for a touchdown. Johnson has one. It came late in the Tennessee game. Stafford hurt his leg, and Sean Hill, his backup, was it. Taking over in their third drive from their own 20. Michael LaSure will get the middle for about 3 yards on first down. Corey Wooten makes the tackle. John, are you seeing adjustments to Stafford after his terrific season last year?
Well, Matt Stafford's going to have to adjust, as is Scott Linehan, the offensive coordinator, to how defenses are playing the Lions this year. They're not seeing as many blitzes. So it's important that the Lions don't look at that negatively. Take what the defense gives you. You'll get some one-on-one opportunities, but don't get frustrated.
This was the most pass-happy team in the NFL. They've tried to establish more of a run of late. That's tough to do against the Bears and Lance Briggs, as LaSure gains nothing, and it's third down.
All these Bears can tackle. That time it's Briggs. It's Major Wright. It's a one-back power play. You're going to see Briggs, and you're going to see Major Wright come downhill and fit this strong side run perfectly. Good football by the Chicago Bears. They continue to stop the run at a dominant level. And this is right where Julius Peppers wants to be. One-on-one with Gosder Sherrillis at the top of the screen.
Third and 7, they back out. Stafford collapsing, pocket goes down. Peppers was waiting for the sack.
It's this double A-gap pressure. It's driving this Detroit Lion offense crazy. And here's Julius Peppers. He gets chipped by a running back. The pressure up the middle and the bull rush of Julius Peppers. No chance for Matt Stafford.
They were looking at the punter, Nick Harris, on the sideline after his last punt. Put one of those elastic straps under his knee on his left leg, and he kicked it in the middle of the field to Hester at the 45, seeking space and tackled by Ashley Palmer. The 5-yard return on a kick of 36. This play by Palmer. Of course, Devin Hester is a significant factor anytime you play. And it's one question you always ask a coach, what are you going to do? You're going to kick to him? And Jim Schwartz was very honest. He said, you know, if it was easy to do, like golf, if it was easy to hit in the middle of the fairway every time, you would do it. Problem is, get on the 18th hole, you feel the pressure, you put it in the rough or in the trees.
They better start making some first downs. That's the best way to eliminate Hester as a punt returner. Make some first downs, score some touchdowns.
And Schwartz had pointed out that I don't want my guys kicking to the middle of the field. Hang time to the ends, but sometimes you're not going to hit it right, and you're going to hit a big problem with Hester if he catches it and goes. Couldn't take off on that one. The Michael Bush run will be erased with a holding penalty. First call to the night.
Holding, number 72 offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
You know, Gabe Karimi, hurt most of last season, has struggled with penalties. Had 3 last week against the Jaguars. Back-to-back false starts on the goal line. And that's the one thing you don't want to do on first down at midfield is commit a penalty on a down block. I don't know if that's holding or not, but you get my drift.
Tangled with Ndamukong Suh. Certainly could have let that one go. Bush remains the back on first and 20. And Cutler taken off with space again. Got a good block downfield by Brandon Marshall. And Cutler on a gain of 24 picks up a first down.
Jay Cutler, I saw him do this at Vanderbilt. Let's see what the flag is here.
Cutler, 20 minutes against Detroit.
Personal foul, number 99 on the defense. The 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
And Corey Williams' penalty makes it a 39-yard gain.
Cliff Averill, the left end of the Lions, thought he got held right here. I don't agree with that with Cliff, but watch number 99. Corey Williams. Good block by Earl Bennett. Corey Williams blindsides Bennett. It's not going to fly.
So it's the second rushing first down of this opening quarter for Cutler. And a run at 24 takes it to the 21. Play action with Bush. Vanden Bosch chasing. It's the tight end Kellen Davis. To the 17-yard line, DeAndre Levy with the tackle. And John, you talk about Cutler and those Vanderbilt days where he was running for his life very often in the SEC and made first downs with arm and leg.
He's fearless. You know, Gunther Cunningham said he's the most unrespected or disrespected quarterback in all of football. He can run away from you. He can throw the ball from awkward deliveries like he just did there, beating Vanden Bosch. He's a great game day competitor. He's off to one heck of a start tonight.
Bears back in the red zone where they have struggled, and the Lions have done well in the first 5 games. Complete, intended for the tight end, Matt Spaeth, who's only caught one this year. And the fourth-year man out of Wisconsin, DeAndre Levy, was covering him.
And here comes Alphonso Smith into the game for the Detroit Lions, number 27. He was released after training camp. It's been a revolving door in this Detroit Lions secondary. We've talked about the number of injuries. Lacey, third-round pick Bill Bentley out. Alphonso Smith in the nickel against Earl Bennett, number 80. Cutler's favorite target in this situation.
Smith just signed midweek. Cutler screening it to Bush. Well read by Levy. Back-to-back plays by DeAndre Levy, and the Bears will attempt a 38-yard field goal.
Well, these are the 3 most productive Lions. And they're linebackers. Watch DeAndre Levy read the screen and beat the lineman to the ball. That's just an excellent job matching the screening back. That's what you have to do in a man-to-man coverage if you're a linebacker and you read screen. Great play by Levy.
Third most accurate kicker in NFL history, Robbie Gould. 10 for 10 this year. We'll back it up 1, make it a 39-yard attempt. Sue came right up the middle and almost got a block, kicked it right over his head. And the field goal is good. It's 10-0 Bears. Sue was busted in on that one, almost had a block. See North tonight, the NFC West next Monday night as San Francisco off its win against Seattle on Thursday, but struggling on offense. 1 touchdown last 2 games. Takes on the Arizona Cardinals. Can you get the ball to Larry Fitzgerald maybe? Or Larry's running around out there yesterday begging for a throw. We'll see the 49ers and the Cardinals in the desert next Monday night. Of course, Monday Night Countdown starts at 6:30 Eastern Time. 10-0 for the Bears. Third kickoff of the night brought back by Stephon Logan. And Eric Weems, the Bears kickoff return man, brings him down at the 14-yard line. Typical, terrific Bears special teams. And here we go. Some pulling and shoving on the pile as the players come back on the field for the Detroit offense. Lisa told you at the very beginning, this rivalry with a lot of angst between both sides and all the fines that happened last year when they met. Well, Detroit's not had a lot of success on first down, but the one run by LaShore.
Been a slow starting Lion football team in the first half this year. They better do something about it quick.
He drops Stafford, throwing right side. Brandon Pettigrew, his tight end, goes up and over on Charles Tillman, very close to a first down.
And Pettigrew is a very productive receiving tight end for the Lions. No Lion tight end has caught as many passes as Brandon Pettigrew. This time it's going to be a 2-deep zone. They run the corner and the safety off. They throw the ball in the dead zone on the outside. Pettigrew's battled some injuries. He hasn't been the same tight end yet this season for the Lions. He's got to refine his form of previous years. The Lions need him.
He broke his own tight end record with those 83 last year. He had 71 the year before. Battling knee problems. 2nd and 1 and a shot for Stafford towards Calvin Johnson. Incomplete. And double coverage. Major Wright and Charles Tillman were just waiting back there, sensing that 2nd and 1 shot play.
You know, you're going to get some one-on-one opportunities because Tillman's not going to back down from anybody, but Stafford has to know where Major Wright, the free safety, is. It's one thing to have one-on-one coverage. It's another thing to have help over the top. But Julius Peppers, he loves playing against the Lions. Check his stats against the Detroit Lions. He forces fumbles. He gets sacks. He looks forward to this matchup.
3rd and 1, and we have a timeout taken by the Lions here with 45 seconds in the first quarter. This is a Detroit team that doesn't carry a fullback, so the 3rd and 1 plays become difficult without having a lead blocker very often. The one-back team, and Joyke Bell, who went to Wayne State, won the Harlan Hill Award as the best player in Division II in 2009. He's the lone back.
Well, this is the one-on-one you've been craving if you're Matthew Stafford.
3rd and 1, they'll throw for it. Stafford looked that way. The coverage was good. Running for his life, throwing for Bell. Incomplete.
Charles Tillman, he's the zone Tampa 2 corner. Not tonight. Not in 2012, he's not. 3rd down and 1. A little double move by Calvin Johnson. Once again, the Bears have safety help over the top. No catches, no yards for Megatron in the first quarter.
I mentioned the punter Harris was shaken up a punt ago. It was right down the middle of the field. Let's see what he does with this one. This one much better, good hang time. And toward the side, Hester thought about taking it on the bounce. Instead, it turns into a terrific 54-yard no return kick for the Detroit punter, Nick Harris. We talked about those earlier punts and the problems the Lions have had on special teams, John. You either got to hang it high and make sure you get no return, as they did there. And the second one worked out similarly as well.
I don't think the Lions have had problems on special teams. They've had major problems, and that is the best way to improve your coverage units. Kicking the ball with good hang time, good direction. Devin Hester frustrated. He's due for one.
He cheated Nick a couple of yards. 58 officially on that punt. We're starting position for the Bears tonight. Forte popping it to the outside. Good job off the corner by Chris Houston for the Lions.
I like seeing Willie Young make a play right there, number 79. Young pass rusher out of NC State. Has been very quiet on the stat sheet. Hasn't really shown up yet that time. A very good effort to the football as we approach the end of the first.
Opening quarter dominated by the Bears. 6 first downs to Detroit's 1. 10 points to the Lions' none. Soldier Field, Chicago. Refurbished a decade ago. They've been playing football on this site since 1924, but it wasn't the Bears' home until 1971. Bears played most of their games at Wrigley Field in the early days. 10-0 Chicago. Second quarter begins. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters with you. And a Cutler sling is right through the 5-hole on Kellen Davis. Incomplete.
That's one thing the Bears haven't had a lot of in recent years is productive pass receiving from the tight end since Greg Olsen left for the Carolina Panthers. But it's Tampa 2 coverage. You have a wide open receiver for an easy first down. And that would frustrate me as well if I was a quarterback. Got to catch the football.
Both quarterbacks have had first downs drop. Calvin Johnson dropped a big gainer on Stafford in the first. 3rd and 11. Cutler pressure, puts it up for grabs and almost intercepted. Jay was going to the turf as Kyle Vanden Bosch got to him and almost threw it to the wrong team.
Yeah, Kyle Vanden Bosch premier effort rusher. Watch him against Jamarcus Webb on a power rush right down the midline. Back to the inside, and good finish by the veteran, former Cornhusker.
Talk about martial arts. See the hand chop there? One and then the other to get by it. So often martial arts in the offseason significant for these pass rushers. Adam Podlish going to kick it away. Stefano Logan wins. Logan calling for the fair catch. Muffed it. And it goes out of bounds, and the penalty marker's down as well. Looked like Logan wasn't even ready with his hands to catch that as he sauntered over to the Bears sideline.
Caught a break there. Let's see if the Lions can take advantage of what looks like is going to be pretty good field position, Mike.
We got it at the 41. Let's see what the flag is, which is thrown right here on this sideline as the players were heading down for coverage. Talked to Jim Schwartz this week. A lot of the special teams problems have been young players on teams, but Logan's a veteran, just with a muff there that could have been costly.
Illegal block in the back on the kicking team. 10-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
That's rare. No number there, so it moves into Bears territory. Best field position for Schwartz and the Lions.
Jim Schwartz deserves a lot of credit for turning the Lions around. Inherited a team that didn't win any games. And they've progressively gotten better, Mike. They've become a good team in the NFL, but it's hard to be a good team in back-to-back years. They haven't had a winning season in back-to-back years since '93 when Wayne Fonts was in Detroit. It's hard to be a good team back-to-back years, and it's real hard to become a great team. Let's see if the Lions have what it takes.
Taking over the 49, they'll run Michael LaSure going left and for only a yard. John, when you look at this Lions team, you mentioned it, they were 0-16, worst NFL season. They were put up by a group in 2008, and then Schwartz came in after his time in Tennessee. Defensive coordinator Jeff Fisher, the 2 wins, then 6. And last year's 10-win season with 5-0 at the start and 500 really the rest of the way.
Bears in full substitution mode on this defensive line. They've got 4 fresh bodies.
After the no gain, 2nd and 10 play action for Stafford. That first bit's been covered all night, and the pressure is getting there. Stephen Pio, along with Shane McClellan on the tackle.
Oh, the safeties are very deep. That time of play action pass, and there's just nowhere to go. Look at the depth of these safeties. They're going to try to fool the linebackers with the play pass and get Pettigrew down the seam, but Stafford has no chance on this trap pass. Lance Briggs read it perfectly. Last year he got beat on the same play for a touchdown. You have to credit the way the Chicago Bears make corrections. You can get them once. Hard team to get twice.
Third and 11, 4-man rush. Stafford down the middle, overthrows Titus Young, incomplete. Young got into the spot. Tough throw to dive in there, and it's 4th down.
Got to hit these throws, and Stafford knows it. Not a big target. You'd like to see a bigger receiver down the seam, but the protection is good. Stafford has time to set up, throw the ball with better location, and you got a big play. They have not gotten Titus Young going in this offense. He's had injuries, Mike, but Detroit needs to hit that one.
Another slow start for Matthew Stafford, as he had last week against Philadelphia. The flag down, Nick Harris killed this punt beautifully down at 2. The penalty marker is down back at the 24-yard line. Harris came in to be the punter. Ben Graham was the first punter for the Lions this year, and Graham injured his leg on that punt that turned into a throwback and a touchdown for Tennessee.
Holding number 33 of the receiving team. Half the distance of the goal. First down, timeout.
You take it from the 3 to about the 1.5 yards. Hester frustrated so far.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Toyota Care, caring for you and your car, Bank of America, and NFL.com. Learn more about the NFL's fight against breast cancer at NFL.com/pay.
Love this city. What a great city, Chicago. You look at downtown on a 65-degree cloudy night. Our aerial coverage is brought to you by DirecTV.
You love every city, Mike.
I really love this city, John.
The Detroit Lions have been hard counted all year, and in a backed up situation, I promise you, Jay Cutler's using a hard count to get the Lions here.
Got his own guy. Got his own guy, Lance Lewis.
The Lions are happy there. Gunther Cunningham, the defensive coordinator
number 60
of the Lions, has been all over his front four. 12 false or defensive offsides penalties this year. That time Cutler tried to lure him offsides. You saw the little flinch right there from Sue. That's a foolish penalty by Lance Lewis at right guard.
This did only cost him a yard. First and 11, and Forte lucky to get the ball out if he did, and they say he did.
Penetration. The Detroit Lions get off the ball. They forced almost 20% negative yardage running plays this season. Guys like Fairley, Sue, excellent penetrators, effort to the football.
That's barely out. The whole ball has to come out of the end zone for it not to be called a safety. It was dangerously close there for Forte. The ball's touching the goal line as the center, Roberto Garza, gets ready to snap it to Cutler. On 2nd and 11. Jay retreating, got time, pass incomplete. They want the flag on the coverage on Bennett. It's not coming.
Gutsy call backed up on your own 1-yard line to go with a no-back set. Not a lot of room for Cutler to maneuver. That time, good zone defense by the Detroit Lions against the no-back set. Take a look at Earl Bennett, going to go in here and work against Stephen Tulloch. Not a lot of room to work back there, but very good pass protection. Bears got to be careful here.
Quick count, 3rd and 11. Cutler from his own end zone throws. Marshall complete. First down to the 19-yard line. That's a big-time play, and you go to the guy who you trust the most for the big game.
Well, you go up against the corner that just got here. I mean, Alphonso Smith, number 27, he's been on the couch for the last 6 weeks. Marshall wants to run a slant route. He's going to come in here, no fear whatsoever, snatch the ball, protect it, and drive forward for the first down. You love having a big 6'5", 238-pound target that can run those slants.
Huge play by the Bears to get out of the shadow of their own goalpost. Forte cutting to the left. Lions run defense has been pretty good on Forte. The player who's killed him the most running has been Cutler, who ran it twice for 35 yards.
It's good to see Louis Belmas back for the Detroit Lions. He's the heartbeat of this defense. Coach Jim Schwartz last night compared him to the former Indianapolis Colt Bob Sanders. Very physical run defender, has range to play on the back end. Great communicator and leader of this Lion defense. They need him to stay healthy.
2nd and 8. Cutler stopping, throwing across the field to Marshall. Chased by Alphonso Smith, who brings him down after a first down. And the flag for the horse collar will add 15 to the game.
Alphonso Smith is telling the referee, hey, he's 6'5", 240, running full speed. I need to do anything I can to bring this man down, but watch Marshall go inside, back to the outside.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle, number 27 on the defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
His hand ends up inside, but that's not a horse collar, at least in the first look when he brings him down. You grab him there on the side. That's good. And then the hand goes there at the very end.
That's not a penalty. I wish we could review that for him, Mike. Alphonso Smith just got back in action as a Detroit Lion. He gets beat on 3rd and 12.
Played 23 games with Detroit, had 8 interceptions, but had even more mistakes and ended up oftentimes in the doghouse. But back because of the multiple injuries at corner. Cutler throwing again. That one high for Hester. And incomplete in front of fellow number 23, Chris Houston.
And offensive coordinator Mike Tice showing a lot of respect for this defensive line of the Lions. Conservative protection plan and a smart protection plan. That time he uses a maximum protection. He's trying to give Jay Cutler time to throw the football. And I credit Mike Tice. He played the game for 14 years. He sees it from a player's perspective. So far, a very good plan by Coach Tice.
And the shotgun is a Forte run to the left. It moves by Forte as he gets a couple of yards shy of the first down. Stephen Tulloch with the tackle. And the offensive line's been an issue here. Tice was the O-line coach when Mike Martz was the offensive coordinator for the last couple of seasons. And to the point of what you just said about Tice being a former player, Jay Cutler loves that about him. And said even though you may see a sideline disagreement or conversation, Tice's player perspective is so refreshing for him as a play caller in their communication all week. Third and short, 3rd and 2, and Cutler. A lot of success throwing, so keep throwing. Keep throwing to Marshall, who's having a massive night to the 25-20 on the first down game.
It goes back to Mike Tice and this offensive staff of the Bears. They're saying Brandon Marshall is now with us. Let's get him against Alfonso Smith. Number 27 can't cover Brandon Marshall. It's not going to happen. Excellent pass protection. And Jamarcus Webb, the young left tackle, starting to use his hands more, and he's pass protecting better. But I like what the Bears have done. They've shown balance, running and passing, and they're getting the ball to their best player against a corner who just got here.
From the 35, Cutler with a flag down. Stepping up and taking off again. Cutler with a gain of 15, which is 25, I should say. This one likely coming back. Multiple flags for the hold.
There'll be a lot of flags. I saw offsides, holding. I saw it all there, Mike.
There are 2 fouls on the play, 1 by each team. Holding, number 72, offense. Defense, offside, number 79. Those penalties will offset. Replay first down.
These offsides penalties are ridiculous. That's 13 of them on the Lions in just 6 games. Willie Young, that time, comes off the left side. You'll see it at the top of the screen. I know you want to get off the passer, get off the ball and get to the passer, but 13 of those in 6 games, not even 6 games. That's not good.
Offside forced in some ways the hold by Gabe Karimi. And the offsetting penalty starts it again at the 25-yard line. It's Kyle Adams, the 3rd tight end, coming over to block for Forte. Good patience by Forte as he runs for 4 yards to the 21. And Levy makes the tackle with Jonte Green, the rookie corner.
A lot of different personnel groupings and formations. That time, 3 tight ends. They use motion and come back with a counter scheme, pulling Lance Lewis. And Forte has great feet. You better mean business when you come to tackle Matt Forte. And all the Lions admitted that Forte is at the top of the list of priorities. If we're going to win this game, we must stop them. So far, they haven't.
39 of those 58 rushing yards came on 1 carry. Second is 5 Forte to the right. Justin Durant chases him down. Spent his first 4 years with the Jaguars. Lions signed him, 2nd year now in Detroit.
Every film I pick up and watch of the Detroit Lions, I like these linebackers. We've seen Levy make plays, Tulloch make plays. And right there, Durant, their top 3 tacklers are all linebackers. It's a credit to them. They can play in any situation, base defense, nickel defense, play them on the goal line. They love football. They're instinctive. They will hit you, and they can cover.
It's an important drive for Detroit to hold Chicago to a field goal. 3rd and 5. Cutler, pressure, and he goes down. Good decision by Jay not to force it as Durant was hitting him. Tulloch was coming in for cleanup. It'll force about a 48-yard field goal attempt.
This good work. Gunther Cunningham getting out of the conventional four-man rushes. He's going to bring pressure. You're going to see Durant, you're going to see Tulloch, and you're going to see Vanden Bosch, who's not on the screen, come off the left side, and they're all going to get to Jay Cutler. I like the way the Lions have played defense. If they can hang around and Matthew Stafford can find the gear to get this Lions offense going, looks a lot like the Philadelphia game last week, Mike.
Good from 39, Robbie Gould from 47. Got blocked. Podlos had a tough time getting the hold down. It's blocked, and Detroit will keep Chicago off the board. We mentioned the last one that Sue got in with pressure. That time it was Lawrence Jackson, the defensive lineman, busted in to block the Robbie Gould field goal. His first miss of the year. So our gang bringing you the sights and sounds of Soldier Field here tonight. 10-0 Bears. Could have been 13. Lawrence Jackson comes through the middle, John.
Put his hat in the crack right there. Good penetration. Watch him get his hands up. That's a play this Lion offense needs to gain some momentum from, Mike.
6 drives, 1 first down. Mostly 3 and out for Detroit so far tonight. Stafford, first down passes, complete. Very close to the first down. That's caught by Titus Young. Young, who like Pettigrew, has been suffering from knee problems during this season. He's been limited in practice, but Young comes up with his 12th catch, and Detroit will go no huddle. They had 2nd and 1 on the last drive, threw it twice and didn't get it. Now they'll run it, and Michael Shore is stopped behind the line by Shea McClellan.
That's Brian Urlacher. When I say he knows the defense, he understands how to play, that's an understatement. That time he scrapes around the horn, and he forces the ball back to the inside. Watch him. As he scrapes around the horn, he's going to use his inside shoulder to force it back inside where Shea McClellan can chase it down from the backside. 3rd down and 2. Lions desperately need a first down to silence this crowd.
Lions started 0 for 8 on 3rd down last week. And finally, no, they don't pick up one. It's incomplete. Briggs knocked it out of the hands of Nate Burleson.
I thought Nate should have caught that football. The Lions started 0 for 8 on 3rd down last week against Philadelphia. Now they're 0 and 6. Just a little under route to Burleson, who has to catch the football. I don't know if he heard footsteps from Lance Briggs or not, but that's 2 big drops on 3rd down by this Lion offense.
Devin Hester, but Earl Bennett back deep to return the punt, and Lovie Smith is taking his final timeout, or will he try to challenge here? Let's see. He's standing right next to the official. I didn't see a timeout signal, so maybe he said that he wants to challenge it here. That wouldn't even be close. The second foot wasn't down. Happened right in front of the Bears. Lovie was standing there at midfield.
I'm sure he's just giving his coaches time to look at it in the press box.
Chicago cannot challenge that play. The play was ruled as incomplete, therefore they cannot challenge it. Chicago is not charged with a timeout, and they are not charged with a challenge. It will be 4th down.
Perfectly explained. And the reverse is true. When it's a catch, you can go back the other way.
I'm just shocked by this Lion offense, their inability to start fast. They've been a very poor first half football team. They've rallied to keep themselves in games, but not good to start.
Tim Jennings is peeking in for coming after a punt block, and we get a whistle and a flag thrown for a false start on the Lions.
False start, number 59, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Tahir Whitehead, I mentioned earlier some of the Detroit issues on special teams have been 3 or 4 rookies per unit, and fewer here in this game tonight. But Whitehead's one of those rookies and cost him 5. Harris kicking. Devin Hester not back for this one. It's Earl Bennett at the 23. And Bennett is tripped up after a gain of a couple. John Wendling, who was playing a starting safety, now back into his captain of the special teams role. Lion offense has been awful on third down for the second straight week. Bears trying to get to 5-1. We have one undefeated team in the NFL, Atlanta. They were off this past week. And then Houston, very impressive to get to 6-1 as they won at home over Baltimore yesterday. Cutler and the Bears take over from the 26, pressured by Sue. Got an arm on him and brought him down. And Dominican Sue threw Cutler in the ground, and he's shaken up. Slow to get up.
And Dominican Sue.
Jason Campbell is the backup. Remember, of course, last year, Chicago had a great season going. Cutler got injured, and their season was a free fall, as they had Caleb Haney coming as their backup. But this is the much bigger concern, as Cutler thrown to the ground by Sue and hurt. News for Bears fans is that Jay Cutler not only got up but ran off the field, and as no trainers looking at him, no thought of an x-ray or conversation to take him back to the locker room, which is extraordinary considering the hit he took from Ndamukong Suh. We'll show you that after the play. Jason Campbell, who played 5 snaps at the back end of the blowout in Jacksonville last year, is the quarterback. He hasn't thrown a pass since he got hurt with Oakland last year. And Campbell, chased by Nick Fairley, takes off and slides and gets 4 yards. Back to the injury to Cutler, who's back in the game to a standing ovation here in Chicago.
Unbelievable. He just took one of the most vicious hits I've seen in a long time. For him to jog off the field and come back. Watching Ndamukong Suh, this short area quickness. He throws Cutler down right on his right shoulder. I thought this was a very serious injury. Jay Cutler, for him to be back in the ball game, that just tells you what kind of toughness he has.
And 3rd and 14, didn't seem to take a warm-up for it. He's ready to throw. Underneath, Devin Hester drops it. It's 3 and out. And continuing to grimace, as you would understand. What a vicious hit this was. Don't see anything illegal on the play either as we watch it. As Sue had him by one arm and grabs him and just pulls him down and then falls on him.
Ndamukong Suh beat a double team. He ripped through there, beat Lance Lewis and Gabe Karimi. He's an impact special player in Ndamukong Suh, and the Bears better do a much better job blocking him.
Podlish punting, trying to angle it toward the sideline. Good kick too, 52 yards. Stephon Logan working the sideline and brought down. You talk about directional kicking with distance. Those are the easiest ones to cover. That was well covered. It's amazing that no medical attention for Cutler after the big body slam throwdown by Sue. Well, there's always conversation, sometimes consternation about Jay Cutler's reactions and his facial reactions on the bench, but you saw him smiling after that last series as he's in conversation first with Brandon Marshall for a moment. Hard to believe that he's smiling and not back getting an x-ray after Ndamukong Suh made one of the plays he hasn't made a lot of over this last year plus.
Yeah, Jay Cutler takes a lot of criticism for his demeanor, but that goes a long way with his teammates.
All right, this Lions offense has been unwatchable to start the game. Its 7th drive begins with a Pettigrew completion. He lost the ball on the way out of bounds. A terrific catch and a fumble. And out of bounds, Detroit ball at the 33.
Somehow Calvin Johnson needs to get in this football game. But watch Lance Briggs when he sees this ball delivered to Pettigrew in the flat. This is just the perfect angle and the great finish. Lance Briggs, sideline to sideline, every down, all-pro linebacker, done it a long time.
Number 33, Stafford running around. Charles Tillman went to hit Pettigrew, so Stafford runs for himself and gets a first down at the 42-yard line. As you all became familiar with yesterday, once you're out of the pocket, you can have contact with the receiver downfield.
And Brian Urlacher, who's coming back from a serious injury, just take a look at him moving, running to the football, changing directions. Bear fans are accustomed to seeing Brian Urlacher eat that play up.
Second first down of the night for Detroit. Stafford throws to Pettigrew again. He lost the ball again on the sideline with Charles Tillman. And let's see if that's ruled a catch and a fumble. It is. It's twice in a row, and Tillman shaken up on the play. There's a magnet on the football in Charles Tillman's hand. He's so good at punching them out. Did it in Green Bay this year. Does it every week in practice.
Amazing. Look what he's wearing on his hands. Those are miniature boxing gloves. He hears about these coaches talking about the 5 points of pressure on the football. He won't buy it. He's going to knock that ball out with wicked right and left jabs. Let's hope he's okay. And but 2 back-to-back effort plays by this Bear defense, and that's how they force the turnovers.
What's incredible as you watch this play, you see Pettigrew come down right on top of him there and had him shaken up for the moment. It's hard to appreciate when you watch it like that. He hits the ball in the perfect spot, and you can't tell where the guy's exactly going to have the football. That's twice he's done it on this drive to Pettigrew. There goes Michael LaSure over the 40 into the 39-yard line. That's a 15-yard run for a first down.
That's what they have to do against these soft boxes. The safeties are deep. Run a little trap play up to the inside against the soft box. Good perimeter blocking that time by Nate Burleson.
To throw it right away, but the receiver didn't see it. So Stafford had to take off and run, and Matthew Stafford very mad. He, Ryan Broyles, the rookie out of Oklahoma over there.
Broyles just got active, really. He's played just sparingly, the former Oklahoma Sooner, coming back from a knee injury. They like him as a slot receiver, as Stafford didn't like him there.
2nd and 5, approaching the 2-minute warning. That pass is caught by Tony Scheffler, the tight end. He and Urlacher. Really, Urlacher just keeping him down right where he caught the ball at the 28-yard line. All right, no flags, all clear. 2-minute warning, Lions driving down 10. Toyota halftime show coming up after this 2-minute warning. The Sunday soundtracks. Adrian Peterson, big game. Boy, they've been a story in this division, as is the broken collarbone for Charles Woodson. An update on Maurice Jones-Drew foot injury. Doesn't sound very good for the Jacksonville Star, and that affects your fantasy teams as well. Toyota halftime show with Chris Berman and Chris Mortensen, Adam Schefter. All the news coming up momentarily. Charles Tillman back on the field. Calvin Johnson without a catch tonight. Inside the 2, all reviews happen triggered by the booth upstairs. Stafford to the shore. The hit from Urlacher with the ability to push the pile the other way, and it's a first down.
Good job by Stafford. 4 verticals, and they just put LaSure underneath, taking what the defense gives you. Good work on this drive by the veteran Stafford.
The Lion team that had 1 first down in its first 6 drives. In a red zone for the first time tonight. LaSure seeking space. Lost the football. And they look for it at the bottom of the pile. Stop the clock first before they get in. So nobody called it down first. And the Bears have it. The Bears have it on a red zone turnover by the first-year running back, LaSure.
Lance Briggs is an amazing football player. It's the relentless effort by the 7-time Pro Bowler Lance Briggs.
You saw it with bodies lying there. So it looks like you have no body part down for LaSure with his legs or his calf before the ball comes out.
That's Lance Briggs. I think he's playing better than he ever has. He's in better shape. They tell me he's better on the practice field. He's better in the meeting room.
The previous play will be reviewed.
He's more of a teacher now than he's ever been. What a player.
We'll see if the Bears have forced yet another turnover this year. Michael LaSure missed his rookie year with an Achilles injury and then was suspended for the first 2 games of this year. He was ticketed a couple of times in February and March on marijuana possession. Came back in that third game. So he's played a few games, but not a ton of carries, just 54 thus far. And here in a crucial spot in the red zone, did he turn it over as they look at that to make sure that no body part was down before the ball came out? That clearly looked like a fumble.
That's what the Bears do to you, Mike. They force you to go 10 or 12 plays in a drive, and they're counting on you making a mistake. Drop a pass, commit a penalty, you'll fumble the ball back to us. And that's just what happened. And LeSure, for him to be an NFL back, he's got to prove that he has the durability, the stamina, the conditioning to do it.
He's already lost one fumble in his first 3 games played with Detroit. And it looks like he's on his way to a second one in the red zone when the Lions have put together their first significant drive of the year. And we showed you earlier all those turnovers. This would be an 18th force by the Bears defense, which would tie them with the Giants in New England for the most in the NFL. Now, meantime, as we're watching this, Jay Cutler, I can see here from the booth, is heading toward the Bears locker room. I was mentioning I was surprised that they didn't X-ray Cutler or take him for another look. With a minute 22 left and only one timeout, as Cutler gets some nice hands from the Bears fans on that side. He goes to the locker room. Here's Al
The ruling
Riveron.
on the field stands. First down, Chicago.
So it is a turnover. 18th of the year, equaling the most in the NFL, and the teams that they're tied with have played one more game.
Unbelievable. How long could Grant Lance Briggs play like this? He's 31 years old. He's in his 10th season. Let's keep him at the top of your MVP defensive watch list.
Let's see how this will transpire with 1:22 left. Detroit has 2 timeouts. The Bears can't just take a knee. Jason Campbell back to throw. His first pass since he was injured last year as a Raider. Does it to Matt Forte. It's complete. The Lions should be taking a timeout if they want to try to keep the ball, but they'll not.
I'm surprised Chicago is in the 2-minute drill with Campbell. Stephen Tulloch makes another great range play for the Lions defense. I'd be real careful in this field position if I were the Bears.
No gain. 2nd and 10 inside of a minute. And they'll run it with Forte up the middle. And Ndamukong Suh waiting. And now a timeout's taken with 50 seconds remaining. So Cutler did come back and throw a pass and stayed out here as if he was going to go into this next drive after the injury we saw on first down a drive ago.
Vicious hit by Ndamukong Suh. He beat a double team, and you worry about his shoulder, you worry about his elbow. But this happens a lot, Mike. It happened to Charles Woodson yesterday of the Green Bay Packers. He played throughout the ball game. They go into the locker room afterwards, they say you broke your collarbone. I'd be concerned right now for Jay Cutler if I was a Bears fan.
That's why I was surprised to see him go back in, even without throwing any balls on the sideline. Went right back in after the one play, and obviously feeling some discomfort, so they send him in for the X-rays. Meantime, the Bears are back out there ready to go. One of the Lions is taking a knee, and he's down and shaken up. It's after the timeout.
Looks like Tulloch, number 55. You get the feeling, Mike, that this is a 24-0 ball game, but it's a 10-point game, much like the Lions played last week against the Philadelphia Eagles. They just hung around. Matthew Stafford woke up at the middle point of the third quarter, and they got a tremendous come-from-behind victory, but they have to get Megatron, Calvin Johnson, in this offense. He's only been targeted twice. He's dropped a football. Chicago's done a nice job mixing coverages, and you have to credit Charles Tillman. But Matt Stafford's going to go in there with Coach Linehan at halftime and hopefully figure out some of the pieces that are missing in this Bears puzzle on defense. They've done a great job shutting them down.
Word from the Bears, John, is that they're evaluating the ribs of Jay Cutler. As Tulloch goes off, Forte runs. Amari Spivey hits him, but the mark on a forward progress will give him the first down with 40 seconds left. And we'll see what decision Mike Tyson, Lovie Smith make. Will they keep going? The Lions can't force them to punt, and Chicago may just tuck their tail and get out of here for the first half and make sure there are no further mistakes.
I think it's smart. You burn a couple timeouts on offense, as you say, earlier in the ball game, and
they're going to take a snap because there's a 1 second difference in the play clock and the game clock. here at the end of the half. So just take a snap and even take a knee if they so choose, and the half will come to an end, or hand it to Forte and let him run. And that's what they'll do. And that will bring the first half to an end. So the Bears will get the ball first. The biggest concern is Jay Cutler. As they x-ray him, we'll keep an eye on that. Matthew Stafford and the Lions offense shut down and shut out in the first half. 10-0 Bears as we join Chris Berman at the Toyota halftime show. Chicago fans wondering if that hit to Jay Cutler will change the season, as a thumb injury did last year. 10-0 Bears to start the third. Cutler not out just yet. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters report in a second. Let's show what Cutler did in the first half to get started here, John.
Well, he used his legs for the most part. He got out of trouble on some third downs and created big plays with his athleticism. On a 3rd and 8, he converts it with a first down in. They move the pocket. He finds Brandon Marshall on a tip pass for a touchdown. Again, big play with his mobility and these zone defenses he's seeing. And then Ndamukong Suh comes through clean and slams Cutler to the turf. And he's still in the locker room. Looks like Jason Campbell is going to take this first possession.
Actually, as you were doing that highlight package, Cutler just ran out. He's walking down the sideline here. They were looking at him. And going to try to make a couple of throws here. Detroit set to kick off as Chicago gets the ball first, and Devin Hester waiting back deep to return for the Bears.
And Jason Hansen, as good a kicker as he is not a long-range kickoff man. So hang time and location of this kick is vital. They put Eric Weems back there. They've got a double return man situation back there for the Bears. They're anticipating Hansen to kick this away from Hester.
Hansen, 42 years old, spent half his life in the NFL, his 21st year in the league. And that was a line drive. Weems actually switched with Hester, and he's the one who gets it. He has a kickoff return for touchdown from his Atlanta days. He's down at the 24-yard line, and Cutler will come out. Lisa Salters, what did Lovie Smith tell you at halftime?
Yeah, Michael, exactly what you're seeing. Jay Cutler coming back out onto the field. I asked Lovie what happens if he's not able to go, and he said, I think he's going to be able to play. But as you guys said, he was back in the back during halftime being evaluated for bruised ribs. And as far as we know right now, that's all it is, bruised ribs.
Okay, Lisa, so Cutler comes back out. We have pointed out with their offensive line problems last year, early this year, how tough Jay is. His first play will be a run with Matt Forte. It's about 2 or 3 yards. And John, he got beat like a pinata at times last year. Mike Mart's offense, Tice, the offensive line coach, the protections weren't right. And one of his big offensive linemen, Shiloh Rachel, the starting left guard, was slow to get up. He'll come out for a play. But, John, that beating he took, you would always comment to me, he is such a tough player, and that wasn't appreciated by many.
No, I agree. 50 sacks 2 years ago. I think he came in tonight being sacked almost 15 times, but it's not just the sacks. It's the hits that he's absorbed. And, again, Lance Lewis, Gabe Karimi got beat by Sue. They have to keep an eye on this fierce pass rush of the Lions. They will not stop applying the gas.
As you said, that's one of the strengths of this team. Hadn't seen it very often thus far this year. Cutler throws short, and that's rare that you see Jay Cutler come up short with a throw to the far side.
No, he's hurting. I know that for a fact. Toughness is one thing, but right now, that is not Jay Cutler. And we'll take a look at this throw again. There's absolutely nothing on it. Check his footwork, check his feet. But that ball just died. I'm concerned right now about Cutler.
It'll be interesting third down call. They go with an empty backfield here on third down. Just thought they may have run Forte just to get this drive over and maybe get Campbell in. Shiloh Rachel back in the game at left guard. Line free. Here comes Sue straight at Cutler. That pass is caught by Forte. He'll be well short of the first down. Sue had a free shot at Cutler there.
Hey, Gunther Cunningham, the defensive coordinator, sees Cutler struggling. He brings the blitz, forces a hot throw into the flat. Sue's unblocked. Karimi gaps the protection. Ball's thrown into the flat. Spivey rallies for an easy 3-and-out, and that's just what the doctor ordered for the Detroit Lion defense.
Adam Podlish, who's never had a blocked punt in his NFL career. With the kick, Stephon Logan back, fair catch of a 43-yard punt that he muffed again, and the Bears have recovered with Zach Bowman, recently re-signed. That is the second muffed kick by Logan. Great hang time by Podlish. And the Detroit special teams issues show again.
Oh, they've struggled recovering kicks. They've struggled returning kicks. Now they're struggling to even catch the football. And just when Detroit gets momentum, Logan drops it. And that's the second drop tonight for Stephon Logan. And Danny Crossman, the special teams coach of the Lions, he's got to be sick.
And Cutler comes back on the field for the Bears. As Detroit, as you said, John, got exactly what they needed coming out of the locker room, 3-and-out. And Logan put it on the deck. From the 27, Michael Bush is now back up the middle. Michael Bush to the 15-yard line.
How good is it to have a big 240-pound complimentary back inside zone to the weak side? Watch Garza, the center. Lewis, the right guard. Watch him come off left backside block, and Webb does an excellent job. The big Michael Bush is all the way to the safety. Here comes the beat. 3 tight ends in the ball game for the Bears. They love to run misdirection counter plays out of this personnel.
Haven't seen a bunch of 3 tight end tonight. Cutler hurting, trying to do exactly what you just said, John. And they run it to the left, and Bush twists forward for the extra yard to take it inside the 12.
I love what Chicago does. Back-to-back runs with a big back and misdirection counter plays to the left side. That's where Jamarcus Webb is. They're going to get a double team on the left side. They're going to pull the guard, pull the tight end, and try and slam a 240-pound back into the teeth of the Lion defense. That's something that Mike Tice likes to do with his multiple tight ends.
Great 1-2 punch they have with Forte. His elusiveness. And the big back Bush. 2nd and 7. Cutler throwing. Caught by Marshall inside the 5. Stretched it out to the 2. 1st and goal Bears.
That's a common slot combination that the Bears like. Outside release by Bennett. He's going to clear it out to the corner, and they're going to bring Marshall to the inside. It's a combination Chicago loves with their big target, Brandon Marshall. And it's an excellent catch. The ball's not thrown perfectly. It's thrown slightly behind them. But look at the range and the athletic ability of Brandon Marshall to snatch that football.
Left alone against Chris Houston on the bottom of your screen. Forte in motion. 4 receivers left. Just Marshall right. Incomplete on the slant.
All-out blitz. Jay Cutler looks for Marshall on the bullet slant. That's a one-step bang-bang play a lot of teams use against full blitzes. That time, Houston did a nice job for the Lions. Very important that the Bears try to finish Detroit right here. 2 halfbacks in the game. Forte at the top of the screen, and Bush is isolated by himself. Here's Forte.
Marshall alone at the bottom. Cutler looking that way, throwing that way, and it was almost intercepted. Durant jumped up and knocked it down, so knowing that Marshall's alone in there, perhaps that slant was coming. Good awareness by Justin Durant.
Well, Detroit has read their scouting report. They know where Cutler's looking in these man-to-man situations. He's looking to Brandon Marshall. That time, an excellent play by number 52, Justin Durant, batting the ball down. But both times, Cutler's looked to his go-to receiver, and Detroit knows it.
Now 3rd and goal. The defensive end, Willie Young, moves back in. Not in that wide 9 on the outside. Pressure comes. Cutler throws. It's knocked away. Alphonso Smith who just got here this week, comes up with a big play as Louis Delmas brought the pressure from his safety spot.
You got to give Alphonso Smith credit. Ball's going to be thrown to the outside number. Watch him rally and bat that ball down. Alphonso struggled with Marshall a couple times in the first half, but he shows his veteran moxie there, making a big play on 3rd and goal for the Lions. And Robbie Gould's already had one block, Mike. Let's see if the Lions come after it.
Yeah, it came close on the first one, too, as Sue busted through the middle. This is essentially an extra point size field goal of 21 yards. Out of the hole to Podlish. Gould knocks it through. And the Stefan Logan special teams error, the muffed punt, cost his team 3 points. Would have been 7 if not for the strong play. You look at Chicago and some of the people in our creative services team make Monday Night Football look so good. And we welcome those of you who've been watching the presidential debate that happened in Florida between someone who represented Chicago in the U.S. Senate and Barack Obama, and men with Michigan ties, since Mitt Romney was born in the state. His dad was the governor of Michigan. 13-0. Bears lead the Lions. Could be a heck of a lot worse. The Lions offense has only had one good drive. A field goal a moment ago by the Bears. Robbie Gould, his second of the night. He had one block. Brandon Marshall is the only touchdown catch. And the Lions offense is on the field when you come back. Important to the game tonight. Bears trying to stay a game up in the loss column on the surprising Vikings. Packers have won back-to-back games but have lost Charles Woodson for a month or so with an injury. The Lions need to win this game to get to 500, have the entire division at 500, and significantly, as you saw, Detroit already with a division loss to Minnesota. So true with the Bears loss to Green Bay. Calvin Johnson shut down in the first half. Stafford from the 20 goes to Michael LaShaw. Fumbled in the red zone on his last carry at the end of the first half, but runs for 14 there. John, nothing happening with Calvin Johnson. Why?
Well, Peanut Tillman is matching up with him in man-to-man coverage and doing a nice job. I've also seen Calvin drop a big ball on 3rd down. Then they're playing 2 deep coverage, and the safeties are very deep, daring the Lions to basically run the football. And when they have caught him in a man-to-man coverage, Calvin Johnson has gotten the ball thrown to him, but the Bears are leaning to free safety that way. Chicago's doing a nice job mixing it up, but they better get Megatron involved.
On first down, Stafford throws. It's caught over the middle of midfield for the first down.
It's a beautiful thing right there. Timing pattern on a little seam post.
There's Nate Burleson who caught it, and his knee is hurt, John.
Does a nice job throwing the ball away from rotation.
Saw Burleson grabbing his knee. Couldn't tell if he was injured or not, and slow to get up. Tim Jennings brought him down. So they look at the 10-year veteran receiver for Detroit. Steen Kleinschmidt, the veteran athletic trainer for the Lions, walking Nate Burleson off, putting a limited weight on that right knee. It seemed to hyperextend as he was tackled by Tim Jennings. Burleson, who's had a minimum of 55 catches each of the last 3 years, so much a part of the 3 wide receiver sets the Lions use. As he goes out, Detroit has a first down at midfield. And a Michael LaShaw run of 7 to the 43 and a Lance Briggs tackle.
Making a lot of yardage off this left side. They're putting Riley Reef, an extra offensive line, in on the backside. But take a look at the injury to Burleson. His right leg's going to get locked here. Came down awkwardly, Mike.
And John, we mentioned they run so much 3 wide receiver. Ryan Broyles, who was their second-round draft pick out of Oklahoma last year, NCAA leader in receptions in his career at 349, getting as healthy as he has been off that ACL injury that he had a year ago at Oklahoma. He's going to be seeing the field a bit more now as LaShaw slips and falls, and he's very close to the first down. Well, this is an offense that really makes its money in the passing game with 3 wide receivers. You showed how they've struggled. What can they do to get themselves going here? Because they're still in this game, only down 13.
They just got to remember they're playing the Chicago Bears. This is a team that is very disciplined. They don't do a lot. They need to finish a drive. They had a nice drive before the half. LaShaw fumbled the football, but the Bears aren't going to give you a lot of big play opportunities, Mike. They've got to continue to pound the ball.
Joique Bell, the second-year back out of Wayne State, in the game. The slant is thrown complete for the first down to Titus Young at the 37-yard line. So 3rd and a yard. And the Lions go to the air to get their first third down conversion of the night.
Another one of those bullet slants. They load the box with Chicago Bears, and they're going to run the football. And Stafford says, no, I'm not. I'm going to pull the ball back and throw a bullet slant and try to beat the loaded box. Nice work by the veteran quarterback, and Stafford likes to do that. Again, 2 deep safeties. They're daring Stafford to run the football.
Stafford started slow. He's hit 6 in a row. Here is Bell with the run to the 32-yard line. Very interesting story. Joique Bell, second year out of Wayne State. It's only about 2 miles away from Ford Field.
Just run a draw play. I mean, there's nobody here. The safeties are 20 yards deep. Run the ball and get excited about some 6-yard runs, 7-yard runs. Keep slamming the ball at this soft Chicago Bear box. Eventually, they'll get out of that, and you'll get some chances to throw. But I like what Detroit has done, pounding the ball off that left side to start this third quarter.
3 receivers. Broyles, who does not have an NFL catches rookie season, in the slot until now. First NFL catch for Ryan Broyles at the 16-yard line.
Boomer Sooner, one of the most productive college receivers in NC2A history, had a terrible knee injury. Watch him come off the ball right here. Nice release, goes right down the seam, and he goes up and gets it. They call him the natural in Detroit. Kid knows how to play the position. Good to see him running around again.
He gets more action as Nate Burleson goes back on a cart to be checked out in the locker room. Lions in the red zone at the 16. Tossing to Bell. Raiola, the undersized center, got a pull, got a good block. And Bell, who they call the finisher on this team, gains 8 yards. John, he only went to college 2 miles away, as I was saying, from where the Lions play their games. Division II player, one of the Harlan Hill Warriors, the best player at that level, at 86 rushing touchdowns. Didn't know if he'd get a chance or even a look in the NFL. Bounced around to a couple of teams, cut 5 times, and finally getting his opportunity in camp. Led this team in preseason rushing, made the team, and now has played well when called upon. Second and 2, miscommunication with Titus Young. Stafford was expecting him to come inside.
You can't make these mistakes in the red zone. That time they have a running play called again. They're expecting an adjustment that didn't happen. The young Titus Young, who's really struggled in his second year out of Boise, not on the same page in a critical area of the field. And this sets up a huge 3rd down and 3. Calvin Johnson at the top of the screen. Guess who's with him? Tillman.
Tony Scheffler goes in the slot. Stafford to Johnson, Megatron, first catch, first down, 1st and goal, Detroit.
Well, you're throwing the ball to a freak of nature. And if Calvin gets his big body between the corner and the football, he's going to win every time. That time, Calvin does a nice job off the release, finding the ball quickly and catching it at its highest point. Nice job snatching it. But if he gets that big frame between the defender and the quarterback, he's going to win every time. Big play for the Lions. And again, Calvin Johnson isolated at the top of the screen, and Tillman's all by himself.
Detroit a one-back team. Bears always good on run defense inside the red zone. 1st and goal. Looking to throw. Corn Johnson tied up with Tillman, and a flag comes down for pass interference.
It's like a heavyweight fight. Tillman, Calvin Johnson, Urlacher flying late that way when he recognized it off the play action. Let's see what the PI looks like.
Pass interference, number 33 on the defense. The foul occurred in the end zone. Therefore, by rule, the ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. 1st down.
Okay. That's what they like to do. They're in a one-back set. They isolate Calvin Johnson on one side of the formation, and it's almost like Stafford has a check with me, Mike. If you load the box to stop the run and give Calvin any looks at one-on-one coverage, we'll throw it every single time, and Tillman's out there again.
Number 1, they're going to throw it again. Johnson went up. Tillman made a better play to knock it away. And Johnson didn't really walk back.
I get goosebumps watching guys go after each other like this. You know, Calvin Johnson hasn't seen this coverage all year. And Peanut Tillman is playing big tonight. They are challenging each other, snap in, snap out, the last 5 plays of this drive. Now he's going to the bottom of the screen.
Tillman's going with him. You're at the 1. I wonder why he wouldn't run it a couple of times. There they run. There's Bell. Trying to go over the top. Trying to lose the football. He did. Urlacher came away with it. Maybe that's why they didn't run it.
That's just bad football by Detroit. You have no lead back. You stick a young back in there. You call him the closer, and he gets closed out by the Bears. Ball security a must. I think he's a little too far out to launch. Let's see if he scored.
Nope, he didn't score. It's looking right down the front of the plane of the goal line. They didn't score. Bears ball. Well, the Chicago defense has made its name on forcing turnovers and on back-to-back possessions in the red zone. Detroit's young, inexperienced backs have turned it over. Let's look at this one, which, as every turnover is under review. Joique Bell leaping forward, comes down short. Ball clearly out while he is down, and then Urlacher comes up with the recovery. He's on a knee and may have been touched by Pettigrew, so the ball may be back at the 1. You see there's no body part down for Bell. He's laying on bodies as the ball comes out, and John, was great penetration by the D-line to cause it to come out.
Yeah, Henry Melton at the point of attack does a great job, and 2 young backs. LeSure fumbles in the first half in the red zone. Joique Bell here in the third quarter. Said it earlier, the Bears are going to make you go 12, 13, 15 plays to score. They're counting on you making mistakes, and Detroit's made a number of them tonight.
Of the last 3 opportunities, we mentioned the red zone fumble by LeSure. Stephon Logan muffed a punt that would have given Detroit the ball with good field position, perhaps at the their own 40-yard line. And then Jim Schwartz's team with a good drive that ends with yet another fumble caused by Urlacher. It'll stand and be his 36th takeaway of his NFL career, 13 years in the league.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. The runner fumbles prior to crossing the goal line, and there's a clear recovery by Chicago. 1st and 10, Chicago.
And they did not change the spot back at the 1-yard line there, and perhaps ruling that Pettigrew did not make contact with Urlacher when he had a knee on the ground and had the recovery.
Jay Cutler tried to hard count in this situation earlier in the ball game. I expected Detroit defensive line to try to get off the ball and try to get some penetration and create an impact turnover. That's what they need to do to win this football game.
And for the second time in that situation, it's a Bears false start.
Number 63 offense. Half the distance of the goal. Replay first down.
The center, Roberto Garza. And those of you who may have been watching the debate, we mentioned Jay Cutler got banged around in the first half. Here was the play. It was the first down play. And Ndamukong Suh comes straight through, grabs Cutler, throws him violently but legally to the turf. And Cutler was down for about 45 seconds. There was big fear that there was a significant injury. Came over, flicked that ball, went back in, left before the 2-minute drive at the end of the first half for x-rays on his ribs. Back out now. Matt Forte with the carry. DeAndre Levy with the tackle. Out at the 7-yard line.
Man, is he a good back. You run this zone scheme, I don't care where you go. You have to have a back that'll press it to the line of scrimmage. Watch him press it and cut it back decisively. Just a good slashing north-south finish by Matt Forte. Back off your own goal line. Good hard running.
Second and 7. Forte outside. Nice job to be patient. Wait for the hole to get there. And he got to the 19-yard line. Vanden Bosch wanted a holding penalty.
He can catch it. He can pick up blitzes, and he can sure run the football. How about this open field elusiveness? Watch him cut this back to the right side and just shake a tackler. Cliff Averill, no chance, and he's got a big first down. Those are 2 great runs back-to-back by Matt Forte. And again, the Bears are back into their multiple tight end set. They've been running the ball out of this. I know they have some bootlegs. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave Cutler a good look at one here.
We were asking for a holding penalty, but we didn't see one there on the blocking. Good job of that Bears front. Another run, this time off the corner. Eric Coleman comes down, the safety for Detroit. And Cliff April with the tackle. The Lions are used to seeing Matt Forte succeed against them. Most yards from scrimmage. The guys have played at least 8 games against Detroit, players in this division. Forte with the big numbers, and Adrian Peterson has had his days against Detroit, and Sweeten has had a bunch of days against a bunch of people.
Yes, he did.
All-time great. Amari Spivey is out for Detroit. That's why Coleman was in on that tackle, and Spivey is getting a concussion test over on that far sideline. Cutler throwing complete to Earl Bennett. Bennett made a man miss, and Coleman has to make the tackle too late. First down, Chicago.
Earl Bennett's got a long history with Jay Cutler. He's been out with a hand injury. Good to have him back. Played with Cutler at Vanderbilt. Just a little spot route. He sits down against the zone, slips a tackle, and does an excellent job after the catch. Very good instinctive slot receiver Earl Bennett is, and if he can stay healthy, he's going to make a lot of first downs for this Bear offense.
Just the last 2 games with a hand injury. He's grimacing on the sideline. The liver injury last year was pretty severe. 10 Forte. And the Lions have him outnumbered on the near side. It's a gain less than a yard. We talk about the relationship that both receivers have with Jay Cutler. Bennett and Brandon Marshall. Marshall from the Denver days. Well, you mentioned Bennett, Vanderbilt with Jay. When Bennett had his pro day, Jay Cutler came back to throw for him. Cutler's in the NFL. It's not often an NFL quarterback comes back for a college buddy for his throw day.
Nice for Cutler to have some continuity. He's thrown to Devin Aroma, Shadu, Johnny Knox. He's had a lot of different systems, different receivers, but to have a couple guys he's familiar with sure helps him.
2nd and 9. Cutler's pass for Forte is incomplete. It was a throw at the start of this 3rd quarter when Cutler came back out after the halftime rib examination. That was a very atypical Cutler throw. It was short, trying to throw to the far side. He hasn't been as razor sharp in this 3rd quarter as he was in the 1st. Amari Spivey for Detroit being carted off. We mentioned he was receiving a test for a concussion. And the 3rd-year safety returned to the starting lineup here for Detroit over the last couple of games. Taken off. That's why Eric Coleman is in. A 3rd and 9, and the Lions bring 5 as Cutler, his arm hit as he threw, and it's incomplete. Bennett was the intended receiver, and Alfonso Smith for the 2nd time knocked it away.
Oh, Willie Young ruined that play. I mean, Gabe Karimi struggling at right tackle. That time, Willie Young is going to come screaming off the corner here. He's not on the screen. He's going to come right off the right side. He's in Jay Cutler's lap right as he's getting ready to throw it. Say what you want. It's just a 2-possession game. There's a lot of football left. Detroit continues to hang around with their defense. See if they can get something going, Mike.
Adam Podlish with the punt. See if the punt returner can catch it. That's an upset. Logan caught it. 44-yard kick. A one-man miss, but he'll go down quickly at the 28-yard line. Lions are in their 125th game since their last punt return for a touchdown. Those old columns, so reminiscent of the first era of Soldier Field and then the rebuild. Some people call it a spaceship in front of those columns. Refurbished 10 years ago. Lions have lost 6 of their last 7 visits here. First down run, Michael LaShore takes it to the 32. Chicago's defense disruptive as ever tonight.
Look at Tillman. It's a power right jab. He knocks the ball loose. Then it's his left-hand jab. He knocks another one loose. This takes countless hours of practice. He goes after Calvin Johnson and rejects him in a goal line situation. Then they rip it out of a young back's hands in a critical goal line situation. I'm Detroit. I'm taking better care of the ball.
2 turnovers tonight. There's Brandon Pettigrews. Well, lucky he didn't have Urlacher pull it out, but a first down at the 45. John, the Bears did a good job getting out of the shadow of their own goalpost with a couple of first downs. The Lions, who didn't move it at all the first 6 drives, have the last couple down to the red zone with 2 turnovers.
And again, they have to sustain it. They've self-inflicted wounds upon themselves, and that's what this Bear defense counts on you doing. They have 2 safeties that are 18 to 20 yards deep, and there again, Darren Stafford to run the football.
Peppers, one-on-one. He was blocked. Martellus Shore out of the backfield. A gain of 8. Final half minute of this third quarter.
Those are the plays you have to make against this split safety, 2 deep zone defense. Underneath throws in the passing game, running the football. Safeties are real deep again, Mike.
Stafford getting time. Too high for Calvin Johnson. Almost turned into a major right interception.
Common pattern the Lions love against cover 2. Little pivot route by the slot receiver, and they like to bring Calvin Johnson in behind him. And I thought Stafford had him again here. He dropped the ball, Johnson did in the first half. That time the ball just sails. I just don't feel like Matt Stafford's been in great rhythm, not only tonight, but throughout this first 6 weeks of the season.
Talking to a player who had 41 touchdowns last year, only 4 in the first 5 3/4 games. Urlacher adjusts the defense, 3rd and 3, through the hands of Scheffler. Maybe even the hair behind him and incomplete. And the Lions will punt it away with 4 seconds to go.
3rd down continues to be an Achilles heel for this team on offense. That time they go to an empty backfield set. I don't think Scheffler was expecting a football to leave Stafford's hand that fast, and frustration is setting in on this Lions sideline.
No Devin Hester, Eric Weems back deep to take the Nick Harris punt. Weems with a fair catch, a marker down here at the end of the third quarter.
During the kick, holding number 97, the receiving team. Half the distance of the goal. First down. That is the end of the third quarter.
So the Bears will start from inside their own 5 after 3 in Chicago. 13-0. What else is new? The Bears defense is tough to score on. Jacksonville only had 3 2 weeks ago. They were off last week. Lions haven't put up a point. 7 quarters, 3 points against the Bears defense. Off we go to the 4th. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters in Chicago. Devin Hester on the side. Past the rookie Green. Devin Hester taking off. And he's got a first down at the 28-yard line.
How frustrating is that for the Lions? It's those built-in hots in the running game. It's a loaded box. They throw a one-step hitch to Hester. And Jonte Green, a rookie 6th-rounder out of New Mexico State, is no match for Devin Hester. But to give up a 23-yard gain on a play like that is demoralizing to this Lion defense, who needs to generate a turnover. It looks like that's their only chance.
The 8th catch of the year here in game 6 for the Bears. Michael Bush.
Delmas makes a heck of a play there, and a late flag. Rayshell down the field for the Bears. Might be guilty here. But what a play by Louis Delmas against a big back in the open air.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 62 in the offense, 15-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Shallow Rayshell's penalty on top of the Delmas play.
Lovie Smith not happy. The Bears have committed a number of penalties. They've committed more penalties than their opponent in every game this season, and that one very costly with a 13-point lead. I don't know about that.
Got both backs in again with Michael Bush and Matt Forte on 2nd and 18. Cutler with the throw for Hester. Durant all over him. And there's the late flag from the back.
Busy referees tonight.
Rochelle continuing his frustration, and Cutler showing some leadership there, grabbing him and saying,
Pass interference,
down.
number 23 defense. The ball will be placed in the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
He didn't mean 23, he meant 52. It was on that play. Here's what happened a moment ago with Rochelle. Involved with Stephen Tulloch downfield, got rolled up with his own man, kept battling with Tulloch. Didn't look like there was much there to deserve that flag.
I don't think so.
The Lions, after all those penalties last week, 16. With the victory in Philadelphia, only 4 tonight. That one turned second and long to a first down. And Michael Bush finishing off a run.
Let's just appreciate this run here. This is a 240-pound back. The Raiders are probably asking themselves, why did we let him out of here? Watch him start to his left, cut this thing back to his right, do a 360. How about those feet in the hole? Holy smoke. They got Forte, and they bring this big back in off the bench fresh. That's quite a combination here in Chicago. I know a lot of teams envy the backfield that the Bears possess.
Raiders took Bush in the 4th round in 2007. There he gets obliterated for a loss of 2 as Nick Fairley, the Lions' first-round pick last year, made the tackle.
That's what Fairley needs to do. I think he beat Rachel that time on the backside. Obviously, the Bears are using the clock. They're milking it. They're running the football, and it's important right now, while the Lions have Chicago behind in the down and distance, they don't give up anything cheap in terms of screen passes and draws.
Cutler's throw is caught by Hester. And he gets to the 43-yard line. You know, seems like every time we've come to Chicago the last 5 years, we keep hearing, we're going to get Devin Hester a package, get him a little more involved in the offense. 2 catches this drive.
You're going to see Hester show up here on a little spot route, and this is really tight. Almost intercepted, but again, location by Jay Cutler is magnificent. He throws the ball away from the squeeze of the linebacker, and Hester does a nice job setting up a 3rd and 3.
3rd down, usually Earl Bennett time. Number 80's in the slot, guarded by Alfonso Smith. Cutler going sideline, back shoulder, Brandon Marshall at the 40, first down, and the gain is 16.
I'd give a sticker for Matt Forte's helmet because he just picked up a blitz, allowed Cutler to work the back shoulder ball to Marshall. Good blitz pickup, and Brandon Marshall and Jay Cutler have been doing this a long time. But look at the pickup by Forte, and Jay Cutler does an excellent job giving a 6'5" receiver a chance at crunch time. Huge first down.
Also a huge factor in the first half. In the 40, looks like the snap. But the rest of the offensive line not on the same page.
Ball start, number 63 offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
I mentioned Brandon Marshall targeted 5 times with 4 receptions in the first half, including the game's only touchdown, a 7-yarder from Jay Cutler. These 2 players drafted the same year by the Broncos, reuniting here in the Windy City 6 times total for 81 yards and a touchdown. Trying to get a 3rd straight 100-yard game. It's only happened twice in Bears history. Cutler in trouble, goes down quick. Wow. Vanden Bosch was coming in. Sammy Hill also there on the pass rush.
I give his Detroit Lion defense a lot of credit. That's a 4th sack tonight, and Vanden Bosch continues to hunt Jay Cutler. Just a great job on a stunt. You're going to see Vanden Bosch work back to the inside, twist all the way across the formation.
He slipped. It's good for him, too, that he slipped.
Sure is.
He had 2 guys ready to tee off on, at worst, sore ribs. Loss of 11. The shotgun run with Forte away from Vanden Bosch. Got a block from Bennett. Brought down by Chris Houston on the corner. How do you think this Detroit defense has played tonight?
I think they played very well. And they're the only reason they're still in this football game. Even if the Bears were to get a field goal here, it's a 2-score game. They've gotten to Cutler, Jay Cutler 4 times. They've been pretty stingy in the red zone. I've seen them block a field goal. They've got no help from their offense or special teams tonight. This is where they like to throw these middle screens to Devin Hester with blockers out in front. Keep an eye on Hester on a little middle screen against the long yardage defense here. There it is.
There he comes. There he's got it. Then they rally and tackle him. Well done by Alphonso Smith. Smith, who was in the doghouse during his earlier time in Detroit, was cut. Came back here and signed Thursday. I'll tell you what, he's played very well for a guy just back with his team.
He has to. These are all going to be blockers, and they're going to throw the ball to Devin Hester and see if he can run for it. Now watch number 27. Alphonso Smith make this tackle. That's a good thing he did. You're right, Mike. Smith has made a couple great plays in the second half.
Ryan's trying to come after Podlish. Again, he's never had one blocked in his career. Logan runs away from it. Got a good bounce for the Lions. And Detroit will take over at its own 13. Down 13. City at 2.9 million people. Our aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. You look down at Navy Pier along the lakefront, Lake Michigan. 4 hours down I-94. The team that plays at the Michigan side of the lake has been involved in comebacks late this year. And they've got to pull another one out here to stay in the game. Stafford, first down pass, incomplete. Right over the head of Michael LaSure.
And it's closing time for the Chicago Bears defense. They do a great job rushing the passer, and they do a great job organizing their pass rush plan. If you struggle with the power rush, you're going to see Adonijay or Wooten. If you struggle with speed or quickness, you'll see McClellan or Melton. And if you struggle with line stunts, you'll get those too. And if the Chicago Bears find a candy bar on the offensive line, that's where Julius Peppers will go. But this is what the Bears love to do, rush at closing time.
It's the Lion Pettigrew starting out of the backfield to protect as Stafford tries to take a shot toward Calvin Johnson. He and Tillman run into each other, and there is no flag. It's an incomplete pass.
That's a good no call there between Tillman and Calvin Johnson. And all night long, it's been Peanut, Tillman, and Calvin Johnson. Tillman's in a run-out technique. He sees the ball thrown all the way. Good no call by the official. Third down and long. And just look at the rushers out there now, Mike. There's Wooten at left defensive end. McClellan, the rookie, at right defensive end. Henry Melton, who's been a real story here in Chicago, number 69 inside. And Lance Briggs and Urlacher continue to sugar those A-gaps.
No Peppers. Big blitz, trying to screen the blitz on the shore. And the only guy waiting was Urlacher. And Rob Sims couldn't block him.
These Bear fans in the end zone are going crazy. Brian Urlacher, he's going to bail out of here and relate to LaSure on this screen pass. He's under serious pressure. Ball has to be thrown. And what discipline by Brian Urlacher maintaining his coverage. That's a big play if Urlacher's not there.
Will this be the one that Devin Hester gets to try to get the most returns in NFL history for a touchdown? Nope. High hang time, fair caught. And the Bears sideline. Disbelief. Chicago ball and lead. Bears are in the lead in the north. The 49ers lead in the west. San Francisco 5-2 takes on 4-3 Arizona. Cardinals open 4-0, but they've lost their last 3. See if Larry Fitzgerald can get going. Not easy against that terrific San Francisco defense. Next Monday night from Glendale, Arizona. 6:30 Eastern pregame with Chris Berman and company. Calvin Johnson has been shut down tonight by Charles Tillman and the Bears defense. And after the last 2 drives started at the 5, Chicago in Detroit territory to begin this drive, and Michael Bush runs left for about 4 yards. And Rochelle with another late push after he got a flag on the prior drive. Needs to be very careful. Doesn't get another one.
Rochelle came here from San Francisco where he started 38 games at right guard. Now he's playing left guard for the Bears. And I'll tell you what he brings to the Bear offense is nastiness. He's a tough, physical football player. He's got to be careful here. He's already been penalized once, but I like the way they're running to the left behind the big Ray Shaw from Southern Cal. He's doing a nice job.
Second and 5. Cutler used much time. Take a shot to Marshall. Covered by Houston. Incomplete. And they wanted offensive pass interference on Marshall.
That's what Jay Cutler does. He has more freedom to audible now than he's had in a long time. They're loading the box. They're creating a 9-man front. Marshall has one-on-one coverage, and Cutler says, let's end this thing. Good work by Chris Houston. But just listen to Jay Cutler, Mike. He's in these running situations, and if they load the box, he's going to target number 15, and they've been a handful the last few weeks, that's for sure.
For an extra lineman in there, Jonathan Scott, former Lion draft choice, also played with the Steelers. It's 3rd and 5. Cutler is flushed. Is hit and is brought down. Jonte Green, rookie 6th-round pick, along with Ndamukong Suh on the stop.
It's good work by young Jonte Green. Runs 4.35. Gunther Cunningham told me that time he blurred the screen. Watch Cutler take off, and out of your right side of your picture, watch number 36. Flash! Nice job by Jonte Green.
It will go down as a sack. The Lions have 5 of those here in the game tonight.
He's all the clock.
Play clock down at 3 and 2. Patrick Manley sends it back. A deep snapper. Logan told everybody to get away. He's muffed 2 and put himself right in the middle of the fire. Another one.
Wow.
Been a really poor night for Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson. That connection that has defined Detroit's football renaissance the last couple of years. And that is credit to Charles Tillman and excellent safety help as well. Thrown to 7 times, just 1 completion. 1 really easy drop in the first drive in the middle of the field, but has been very little out of the number 1 and number 2 overall picks in 09 and 07 respectively. Stafford's throw to Titus Young ruled a catch at the 17-yard line. Corey Wooten made the pressure.
And Shea McClellan, who's kind of a hybrid defensive end linebacker, has really given the Bears a lot of deception in their nickel pass rush. He can walk around and be a tackle or an end or an outside backer, and that time they confuse the Lions.
5, Bears rushing 4. Those 2 safeties are really deep. LaSure underneath for a couple of yards. Julius Peppers, this is the 2nd consecutive drive that he has been on the sideline here for Chicago.
Has that plantar fascia that has bothered him throughout the season. Let's hope it's nothing serious.
And 1 safety comes up close, only 1 deep. But Stafford throws complete to Calvin Johnson. His 2nd catch takes him to the 30. Gain of a dozen, 1st down.
The Bears continue to play a lot of 3-deep zone. That time Peanut Tillman ran out again. And instead of going deep, they're finally throwing the ball in front of Peanut Tillman. Clock continues to wind. Detroit's got to hurry up.
Right the time last week against Philadelphia when the Lions were down 10. Rallied to force overtime and won 26-23. Chicago defense, no big plays against them tonight. Stafford running, throwing. It's caught on the sideline by Titus Young. Right near midfield. They'll mark at the 49.
Bad blitz that time by the Bears. They lost contain, and they let Matthew Stafford get out to his throwing side. And Titus Young does a nice job showing some sideline awareness. And Julius Peppers is back in the game, Mike. Top of the screen.
Stafford throws complete to Joyke Bell, and ran through the would-be tackle of DJ Moore to get a 1st down at the 40-yard line. This has been the exact scenario we've seen the Lions in many times on Sundays this year. Late in the game, Linehan's team, no huddle, moving it downfield. They've had a couple of good drives. They've turned it over twice in the red zone.
Loose cover, too, and they're just daring the Lions to check the ball down.
The 40, Stafford swinging, and it is no signal yet. Still no signal. And now it looks like a little confidence.
That's not good footwork by Matthew
Interception
Stafford.
rule, interception rule.
He throws that falling backwards on his back foot, and I think Conte isn't going to get credit for that, but that's a terrible force by Matthew Stafford.
That'll be incomplete. It's a turnover, so it's automatically reviewed. Nobody had a good look on it. The officials waited a long time for the call. Review coming. Well, this is like all the other turnovers, automatically reviewed. And as we mentioned going to break, it was a long delay in a call because nobody had a clear look inside there. And this looks from both angles we showed going to break to be no interception. If so, it would be 2nd and 10 at the 40.
Like to see the ball thrown to the check down here, but just watch the footwork of Stafford here. He's a great talent, but he's falling backwards. It's a clean pocket, and he's forcing the ball. He's trying to make something happen that isn't there. Been a frustrating year for Matt Stafford. When you throw 41 touchdowns and 5,100 yards in 16 games, and then you come out and you're not seeing any man-to-man. You're seeing everybody's best shot. There's a lockout last year for defenses, too, and I think a lot of quarterbacks took advantage of that. This year, these defensive coaches and players have schooled themselves on the Detroit Lions, and until they prove that they can be a disciplined offense and march the ball down the field 12, 13, 14 plays against this style of defense, they're going to continue to hit potholes.
You also have a team that came off, we mentioned the double-digit wins, the most success they've had easily in over a decade. They're no longer sneaking up on people. And they're certainly getting great coverage from people in the back end with Calvin Johnson, and it is shown in the 2 and 3 start.
The field will be reversed. The ball hits the ground prior to the player gaining control. It will be 2nd and 10 on the 40-yard line going in. Please reset the clock to show 4:21. 4:21, please.
We were able to pick it up there, but I don't know if it was heard throughout the stadium. But everybody knew what was going on, so incomplete there. The clock stops at 4:21. And you say with the safeties that are out there, you can still go to Bell on those checkdowns. You have time to do that as a Detroit team with a full complement of timeouts.
Yes, you do.
And Nate Burleson hurt his knee in the 3rd quarter. The veteran receiver is out. The rookie Ryan Broyles seeing his most significant action, and Jeff Backus is called for a false start.
And the self-destruction continues.
Number 85 offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Fumbles, penalties. And here's the left tackle, number 76, Jeff Backus.
35-year-old Backus playing his 182nd consecutive game. Every game since he was drafted out of Michigan, where he played 49 straight games. 2nd and 15. Stafford throws complete. Calvin Johnson takes Tillman to the 1st down marker and beyond. At the 30-yard line, 4:10 to go.
Matthew Stafford has a cannon. That time he makes an excellent throw in a blitz situation. Got to hurry inside of 4 minutes. 4-down territory.
Stafford, hoisting to the middle. It's caught. That's the rookie Broyles there, I believe. 6-yard line, 1st and goal Detroit. 3rd time in the red zone tonight. The 2nd catch of the NFL career of Broyles.
And running the ball is not out of the question. Remember Calvin Johnson, Peanut Tillman, cat and mouse game they had earlier in the football game. Safeties are buzzing their feet in the end zone. I'd run the ball here.
On the 6, they'll throw. Stafford checking it down to Bell. Spins off the hit. Got to the 3. With 3:16 to go. It behooves Detroit, 1 to score, but 2 to score on this side of the 2-minute warning. Gives you a better opportunity and options with your timeouts.
And it's difficult inside the 5 when you're in a 2-minute offense Oftentimes you don't practice and have a lot of plays available to you inside the 3-yard line.
Second and goal. Stafford trying to make something happen. Incomplete. Almost intercepted by Major Wright.
There's that, both safeties 6 yards deep in the end zone, buzzing their feet, reading the quarterback's eyes. You're going to see these are linebackers here, but the safeties are 6 or 7 yards deep. They're flat-footed. They're buzzing their feet. They're reading the quarterback. There's 7 Bears in the end zone. I'm just surprised they haven't given their big back, Joyke Bell, a shot. I know they've fumbled the ball a couple times.
4 down territory, 3rd and goal. Stafford swinging, incomplete for Johnson. It'll be 4th down.
They're trying every which way they can to get it to Calvin Johnson. That time it's a tight slot. Broyles runs to the outside. He breaks back to the inside. There's a lot of Chicago Bears in the end zone. And they have played a 2-deep zone 3 snaps in a row.
Receivers Johnson to the left. Bell is the back to that side as they go empty. Broyles, Young, and Scheffler to the right. 4th and goal. Peppers chases. Stafford throws. Intercepted.
That's a really disappointing goal line sequence.
And that shot says it all.
All night long, the Chicago Bears have dared the Detroit Lions to sustain a drive. They've counted on the Lions self-destructing. This time, Julius Peppers is going to chase Stafford down from the backside. Chicago Bears play their disciplined zone defense. How about Henry Melton? Julius Peppers has done it a long time. 4 incomplete passes inside the 5-yard line, and I've never seen red zone self-destruction like I've seen tonight, Mike.
There's 2 feet inbounds and the catch. Just double checking that was officially ruled an interception or not. And that uncertainty will probably lead to a review here. Let's see. Nope, just going to reset the play clock. Alberto Riveron came out to blow the whistle. The multiple red zone turnovers for Detroit, the story here tonight. That was officially ruled a DJ Moore interception. His second, 10th on his career. Because he and Stafford had a physical altercation after a pick last year. Here's the red zone story, if you weren't with us. For Detroit, the fumble, the end of the first half by Michael LaShore. That Briggs was a part of. Joyke Bell reaching for the goal line. Urlacher knocked it free, took it away. And then on 4th and goal, wouldn't have mattered anyway because it would have been short. And the interception.
They've had a lot of plays inside the 5 tonight. They tried Calvin Johnson, I think, 3 times in a row. That didn't work. 4 different kinds of passes inside the 5. It didn't work. I think the Lions need to work on some kind of play that they can run the ball with in the tight red zone. That seems to be perfectly clear tonight.
It's a team without a fullback, so they have to come up with creative ways. Down there, they have not had a Forte on the carry. Up the middle to the 11-yard line. Detroit used 1, now will use a second timeout with 2:29 to go. The Lions' last time they were shut out was at Green Bay back almost 3 years ago, October of 2009. It's been a long time since the Bears have had a home shutout.
It's like the Bears know the plays the Lions are running. It's hard to get the Bears twice. I remember last year, Mike, they ran the trap pass. They fooled Lance Briggs. He saw the guard pulling, and they shot the ball to Pettigrew for a big touchdown in the Lions win. This year they tried the same play. And Urlacher and Briggs say, hey, we ain't buying it this year. You're not getting the same play twice. He turns wheels, finds a tight end, and there's nowhere for Stafford to go. It's hard to get the Bears twice. They're so disciplined. It's a credit to Rod Marinelli and Lovie Smith. I said that Tillman had a PhD in Bears defense. He's got a master and a doctor's degree. Look at this. Urlacher and Briggs and Tillman, 33 years of combined system intelligence in this Bears style of defense. Rod Marinelli listens to them. He takes their input. They make adjustments on the sideline. They're amazing pros. Get the back of their football card. These are amazing Chicago Bears. They rival the great Bears of all time. That's how good those three players are. And you shut out the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football. That's saying something. There's a lot of talent on the Lions offense.
Only allowed 3 points against Jacksonville. Chance to go back-to-back games. Not allowing a touchdown. Adam Podlish to punt again. Ron Logan again tells everybody he gets away. Gets the ball and he's down at the 40-yard line.
Zach Bowman. Bears take special teams very seriously. Lovie Smith, they say you draft a safety every year since 2004. You can't find a certain safety combination. Well, the reason he drafts safety is he wants them on special teams.
Cutler went down in the first half. Didn't think you'd see smiling and good times from that Chicago sideline. Looked scary there for a moment. Cutler 16 of 30, 150 yards. Marshall 6 catches and the only touchdown scored tonight. 2:13. Detroit's used all of its timeouts. Only the 2-minute left. And Michael LaSure trying to get to the sideline, taken there by Tim Jennings. Jennings and Tillman on the corners, and John, where the Bears had defensive breakdowns in the Monday night game last year, the safety position, we've talked about Chris Conte and Major Wright a lot, especially here in the second half.
I love these young safeties. You know, Atlanta had 2, Deku and William Moore. We saw Chancellor and Earl Thomas in Seattle. Major Wright and Chris Conte deserve a lot of credit, as does Gil Byrd, the safeties coach here in Chicago. He was a great player himself.
At the 2-minute warning, pass caught by Pettigrew in Chicago territory at the 48. Can the Bears get their shutout on their way to 5-1?
Scott with you coming up on SportsCenter, the GMC postgame report. Highlights and analysis of this old school black and blue division tilt. Top 10 plays of Week 7 in the NFL and 2 most suspenseful words in baseball. Game 7, Giants-Cardinals. Mike Tirico, they are partying in the Bay Area.
Yep, San Francisco winning. Welcome those of you who watched that to the very end. Much like the St. Louis Cardinals, the Lions have not scored tonight. It was 9-0 and finished in a driving rainstorm at AT&T Park. Here it's 13-0, so the Giants will face the Tigers in the World Series in San Francisco, games 1 and 2 Wednesday and Thursday. Inside the 2, no timeouts left. Stafford taken off. Sliding down to the 41-yard line.
This coverage, this Tampa 2 coverage you get late in the game, takes a certain discipline. You got to be able to look off the linebackers. You have to be patient. This is a defense we played a long time ago in Tampa. Lovie Smith has taken it to another level. But you have to be patient. And it's a frustrating coverage.
You can up the middle from Adonijay, and he will get the sack. Israel Adonijay with 2.5 against the Rams. Gets his first one in 3 games.
This good disciplined coverage and a relentless, fresh pass rush. Now you just see Adonijay on your left side split a double team, and Peterman has no chance. He thought Raiola was going to work his way. They love it.
15-yard loss. Bears take 2 linemen out, bring 2 new ones in. 5 seconds remaining. Peppers in pursuit as Stafford slings it complete to Titus Young at the 35-yard line. And it'll be a first down with 48 to go.
I mean, how'd you like to be Matthew Stafford? He's exhausted. He may have to come out of the game. Julius Peppers is fresh, and he's off to the races. And Matthew Stafford makes a great throw here. Looks like he hurt himself, Mike. He's wincing in pain.
He is, as he reached across his body to throw. Remember, Stafford was hurt earlier in the season in the Tennessee game. He was chasing down after an interception, injured his leg, and a leg that he had injured earlier that week. And Sean Hill came in and led the furious comeback.
Going to chip these defensive ends.
Stafford firing right. Titus Young out of bounds at 12 with 41 seconds remaining. The last time the Bears shut out the Lions in Chicago, as mentioned earlier, the former home of the Bears, Wrigley Field, 1962, exactly half century ago, 3-0.
Let's hope we can get off the snide here. They got 41 seconds, Mike. Bears are going to put their safeties 4 to 5 yards deep in the end zone, and watch them. Young safeties at home. They're going to buzz their feet and read the quarterback.
And the whistle and a timeout taken by the Bears with 41 seconds to go. That game was George Halas' coach team playing on December 16th. Might have been cold and snowy on the north side.
You need to get a life, man. How do you know all these things?
Next year, the Bears were the champs, 63.
And Charles Tillman's done quite a job tonight with Calvin Johnson. He told us it was going to be a heavyweight fight, and he was going to be ready for every round. Nice job here competing on an inside under route. Then he cuts him off on a play up the field. He gets help from Major Wright over the top. And in the red zone, this is his most impressive work of the night, punching a ball out. Not many people challenge Megatron in those situations. All night long, Tillman. He's played a little man. He's played a little 3-deep zone. He's played a standard cover, too. He's punched the ball out 2 or 3 times.
7 tackles, 2 passes defended, 2, as you see, forced fumbles. Lions back in the red zone. Incomplete for Pettigrew with Urlacher standing there. 3 times tonight Detroit has turned it over in the red zone.
Matthew Stafford is exhausted. He's run for his life tonight. This time he's going to throw the ball to Brandon Pettigrew, and Urlacher is just waiting for it. People underestimate the ball skills of Brian Urlacher. I've seen him be the deep safety on the Hail Mary pass. 35 years old, all-time leading tackler of the Bears. Working himself back into form for a stretch run.
His 36th career takeaway tonight. Another end zone shot, and it's caught. Ryan Broyles, his first National Football League touchdown for the rookie out of Oklahoma. Second-round pick. Many question why Detroit took another wide receiver when they had 3 good wide receivers. First-round grade before the knee injury. And Broyles comes in and gets his first NFL touchdown, seeing his most significant time after Nate Burleson returned.
Turkey hole throw between the corner and the safety. So much for that Wrigley Field bit, the 1962 stuff, Mike.
And Detroit will go for the onside kick, as they have a couple of times this year. Recovered it. Remember, Titus Young had that Hail Mary catch against Tennessee.
In a very similar situation as this.
Easton Hansen on for the extra point. The man has scored the 3rd most points in NFL history. Point number 2,705. Gets us to 13-7 and to an onside kick attempt coming.
And Dave Toub is going to get his Chicago Bears ready. It'll be interesting to see how Detroit deploys their onside kick team. They try to departmentalize their Lions in 3 different configurations. They want to try to have an option to kick it left, to middle kick it, or kick it to the right. That's pretty common in terms of the distribution of the onside kick team, but this is a pivotal play. You don't want to give Matthew Stafford one shot at the end zone.
Here was the story last week, John. Down 13, or down 10 with 5:18 to go. Matthew Stafford, 8th time in his career, he's engineered a comeback victory in the 4th quarter. Jason Hansen from 19, the end of regulation, sent it to overtime. The defense forced a 3-and-out in OT. That was a Hansen 45-yard game winner to get Jim Schwartz's team its 2nd win on the season.
And Jason Hansen can make all the kicks. He can start kicking it to the right, come back and cut it across his body to the left. They're going to middle dribble this.
Timeout taken by Chicago. Dave Toub, the Bears special teams coach, you saw talking to his troops a moment ago, was right next to the official, saw the alignment. And there's Danny Crossman, the special teams coach for the Lions. He's talking to Alfonso Smith, who just got to him this week. They also have Justin Miller out there, and he was just signed today. So a lot of new and fresh bodies out there for Detroit who haven't been on onside kick coverage with Crossman. GMC postgame coming up. You heard Stuart Scott a second ago. Coverage from here, the postgame from soggy San Francisco, and your first preview of the Tigers and the Giants in the World Series.
Hanson's going to look at the defense. He's going to see the deployment of Bears. He sees 4 down here. He sees 3 in the middle and 3 up top. I'd be surprised if he doesn't middle dribble this and see if Osgood, number 10, can get the football.
From the Lions, Hanson got the big bounce, trying to get to avoided area, but Earl Bennett takes it on that next hop and closes the business as the Bears will get win number 5 on the season. Carolina fired its general manager today. They're suffering significantly and will come in here to Soldier Field. Cam Newton, their offense has issues. Good luck against the Bears, who are giving up 10 points in their 8 quarters. Then they go to Tennessee to play the Titans and make a showdown with the Texans. And we see them for some kind of Monday night in San Francisco against the 49ers. May just leave both defenses on the field for 8 quarters in that one. It'll be tough to score. Meantime, Detroit will go home and play Seattle. And it'll be an interesting day with the 2 stadiums next door to each other. An NFL game at 1 and then a World Series game right across Brush Street at 8 o'clock that night. Bears are 5-1. The Lions are 2-4. And the only team under 500 in the NFC North. Meeting 165 is win 95 in the series for Chicago. Bears 13, Lions 7. These 2 teams meet on the final Sunday of the regular season, December 30th in Detroit. Megatron got shut down tonight. 3 catches, 34 yards. A story for the Bears defense. 96 rushing yards out of Matt Forte. And Cutler with a touchdown to Marshall. Chicago 13, Detroit 7. Sports Center next with John Gruden and Lisa Salter.